Talking stages, man. One of the most interesting, confusing things life has brought to me, and as a teenage male that has gone through a few talking stages, I'm gonna tell you the levels to it. And for anyone who hasn't been in a talking stage before, it's basically the build up to a relationship. Like, it is what it sounds like. Whoever you are talking to, you're talking to each other, you're getting to know each other. That talking stage could last to 10 months to 1 week, just depends on you and the other person. Anyway, level 1, the first week of texting. The first week of texting feels like heaven. You're just getting to know each other, you know, so it's just texting all the time on Instagram, Snapchat, iMessage, however you're communicating with each other, and it's just texting all the time. You're geeked out every time you get a phone notification, thinking it's them, checking your phone every 10 minutes, going back to reread text just cause, and it's nice. It's like the honeymoon phase of early relationship, but not really. You see what I'm saying? You be talking at school, walking together, texting during class, you know, the whole shebang. Might even be telling your friends like, oh yeah, I'm talking to this person, you know what I'm saying? But then level 2, the first FaceTime call. This could happen between the first 2 weeks of you talking. You're chilling in your room maybe after school, then out of nowhere, or maybe planned, you hear it. And once you look at your phone and see who it is, your heart's already starting to beat fast. You're feeling nervous, and just all the emotions are just flooding in, you see what I'm saying? And in this call, this could make or break this talking stage, you know what I'm saying? You're in the early stages of talking, so you never know, they could just dip, like, out of nowhere. So you gotta make sure that it isn't awkward, they don't forget to have conversational skills, to keep them entertained, etc. So, what are you doing? Laying in bed. What are you doing? Oh, you know, talking to you. And after this call, if it is successful, more will come, because they're gonna want to talk to you and keep talking to you and getting to know you and all that. And after FaceTimes and long nights on the phone, you're gonna be locked in, just talking on the phone all the time, you feel me? And eventually during one of these calls, you might make plans to do something. And that's where level 3 comes in, linking up. Now this is probably one of the most important levels. Like, once you're here, there's no going back. Like, this is very important. Another make or break level. Once you get to this point, you guys are talking or texting about hanging out, you gotta make sure the location, the time, the plan on what you guys gonna be doing, the side quest, everything's gotta be perfectly planned out 100%. Or on the other hand, they don't care what you guys do, they just want to hang out with you, and in that case you're already winning. So linking up will be fun and easy, and just like everything else, the more you do it, the more you're gonna get comfortable with them, and next thing you know, you're hanging out at each other's houses every day after school on some chill shit, going out on the weekends, you know, other activities, hyping yourself up inside their bathroom, dapping yourself up. Anyway, now to level 4, catching feelings. Now at this point, you're probably like a month into this talking stage, and depending on how you are, you might be starting to feel some type of way about this person. You start to think about the future, maybe even a serious relationship with them at some point. You're having all these thoughts about them. You're starting to text them even more every day at this point. You're calling each other every night, hanging out more and more, like almost like you like them or something. And the more and more time you have to think about it and to feel them out and just, you know what I'm saying, enjoy their company, you're like, yeah, I think I'm messing with them. Like, I think I got feelings for them. And during this process, this leads directly into level 5, drunken love. Now at this point, it's probably around month 2. At this point, you and your talking stage are dating, but not dating. Together, but not together. You see what I'm saying? Doing all the relationship activities, but you're still talking. And so one of you pops the question and makes things official. Everything is sunshine and rainbows. When you're with them, you got mad feelings. You're just being all happy. The mood changes. You're just having a fun time. And as time goes by, you're getting closer and closer. You feel me? You're starting to be like, should I ask them out soon? Because we're basically dating already, and I really like them. Like, I should probably make a move. I should probably ask them the question. And depending how you are, once again, you could have already asked this question, or you're getting building up to ask this at this point. But usually at this point, this is where the question gets popped in. It determines the fate of this talking stage. Level 6, you're too far gone. At this point, you're getting ready to ask them the final question to make things official. You're already imagining your guys' future together, going on dates all the time, meeting their whole family, their siblings, if they have any, dating for many years, going off to college together, living your life in college together, all that woo-doo-woo, graduating college together, falling deeper and deeper in love as the time and years go by, and it just feels like just yesterday you were just talking to them back in the good old days, and then you're brought back to reality. None of that has actually happened happened yet. You're just daydreaming and waiting for them to text back. But recently, they've been a little distant, you know, responding slower to text, calling less. Overall, the spark you felt with them months ago but feels like it's fading or something. But you're too far gone. Like, you like them too much to let these weird signs affect anything. You have goals, aspirations, and dreams and hopes for this relationship or talking stage or whatever the hell is going on. So you push all that out of your mind, all the doubts, everything. You like them, they like you, everything is great. Level 7. Getting ghosted. Now there's a build up to this, you know, maybe one day you don't see them all day at school, a little weird, and they responded maybe twice the whole day to your text, also a little weird, but it's after school now, so they should respond, right? Like they usually do. You text them, no answer for like 20 minutes. Now you're checking your phone, looking through your messages, rereading shit like, what's going on? Did I do something? Cut to 2 days later. And then after you mentally recover from the stalking stage and all that wasted time and all the wasted months of your time and attention and affection you put towards this, you move on to the next one. But not for real. If you're younger and haven't gone through any of this, don't take everything I say as what happens. I'm a boy in high school. My experience is going to be a little different than everyone else's. And who knows? Most of the time, talking stages lead to relationships. Like, you can already be in a relationship by level 4, level 5, level 3. I don't even know, bro. No, I don't know about you guys, but the stairwells at my school and any school are usually used for like walking up and down, right? You know, just a way to get from point A to point B in your school. And sometimes they're used for TikTok dances. And you know, you got them kids dancing in the stairwell and shit. I remember like a few years ago or some, there was a stairwell at this high school making people TikTok famous. Like they just record a video of themselves dancing or whatever and doing whatever in the stairwell. The video would go crazy. Now, me personally, I ain't ever like walked into one of my school stairwells and just seen 2 girls busting it down. But I have stumbled across some interesting TikToks of kids from my school, like in this back stairwell of my school, this big black dude and this little white girl dancing in the stairwell. I was just like, interesting, like what do they got going on? But anyway, the point of this video is to point out the fact that school stairwells are used for a lot more than just walking up and down the stairs, you see what I'm saying? Like for example, this one time I was leaving my class and instead of taking the usual route down the main stairs, I wanted to do something a little different today. You know, I wanted to live my life differently. You can't live every day the same, you see what I'm saying? So I wanted to go down this stairwell that's like down a hallway in the side of the pod in front of the bathrooms. So I walked over there after class ended and up to the door, and the doors have like these little windows in them, right? So I looked through the window while pushing open the door and I saw 2 figures standing right in front of the door, and my brain kind of put like 2 and 6 together very quickly. I just guessed it was some dude and a girl or whoever doing who knows what in front of the door in the stairwell, and I didn't want to like sell nobody, but I also wasn't gonna just stop opening the door. Like I already started opening the door. Like it'd be mad weird I just slightly open the door and then close it and walk away. So I kept opening it and I walked into the stairwell, and this dude and girl were standing like right in front of the door, hella close to each other, definitely on a main mission or something. And I saw them and they both just kind of glanced at me and went back talking to each other, and I kind of just awkwardly walked by them down the stairs. And while going down the stairs, my nosy ass was like, I'm gonna have to see what they're doing. Like maybe they went back to doing what they're doing when I walked away. So I looked back at them, and the way the stairwell was set up, like once you got past the first flight of stairs that went down, they turned, and then the second flight turned going down facing back towards the stairwell so I can go down that and look at them. So I looked up at them and they were dead both looking at me, like giving me some of the craziest side eye I've seen from 2 people at the exact same time. And I just very casually and awkwardly just exited the stairwell and kept it pushing. And the funny thing is, this isn't the first time that like something this has happened to me. Like last year, I was returning to class from a side quest and I didn't want to go straight back to class. I wanted to do a couple more laps around. So I went to the other side of the school, and after walking into the bathroom, looking at myself in the mirror, and then walking out like an NPC, I started walking into the stairwell that led upstairs. And like right as I opened the door, I heard like this weird sound like scurrying of feet or something. And like I barely heard it because I had one of my AirPods in. So I paused my music and slowly started going up the stairs listening. So I was like, what the hell was that noise? You feel me? Like I was confused. And as I slowly got to the top of the first little section of stairs, the door opened to the top. And the second it opened, I heard more scurrying sounds that sounded like someone was quickly moving around under the stairs. And I looked at the person who walked into the stairwell, and I swear to God, I see like a blur of a person speed walk out of the stairwell at the bottom door, like the corner of my eye. And I was just standing there at the top of the stairs like, what the hell is happening? And then the girl that walked into the stairwell was staring at me because I was botting out. And I looked at her and I was like, I think there was someone under the stairs. And she was like, okay. Probably didn't give a shit, but I had to tell somebody. And after staring at her while she slowly walked towards me while I was standing at the top of the stairs, I was still kind of botting out. I was just like trying to put together all the pieces, what was going on. I just made up my mind like, anyway, I'm moving on, whatever. Let me get back to doing what I was doing, walking around. So I started walking up the second section of the stairs, and I heard like quick footsteps at the bottom, and then the bottom door opened again. again, and I just kept walking. And what I think what happened, for a quick summary of the course of events that were just happening, there was 2 people under the stairs, right? And when I walked into the stairwell, they stopped whatever they were doing, and after hearing the door at the top of the stairs open, they guessed I left the stairwell already, so someone fled. And then after I walked to the top of the stairs, the second person fled too. Now I don't know what was going on, what was happening, but I can only guess, you feel me? But usually when there's 2 people on the stairwell during class, they on a side quest or something, you know, probably like playing like rock, paper, or scissors or something under the stairs. I don't know, but I doubt it, cause like I'm not gonna sit here and expose myself or expose anyone else. So let's just say I've seen some interesting things. Like I've seen a girl walk out of the stairwell wiping her mouth. Like I didn't know there was a water fountain in the stairwell. It might have been like a new addition or something, a new update no one told me about. And I'll just jump back to a couple of years ago when I was a little freshman in high school. Now I didn't know, I was innocent, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know much about life and things and people being in the stairwells and doing side quests, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know much about that. But I remember it was the morning time and I was rushing the first period because I got to school late and I had to go through one of the stairwells, right? And I was walking up to the building from one of the outside entrances. Basically, you could open this little side door and it comes into a stairwell, and I was trying to go through that door up the stairwell quickly, so I had to go through all the way around through the school, you see what I'm saying? So I opened that door and I'm walking in with my head down, my phone, and I look up in the corner, right? Like right as you open the door, there's a corner, like which is under the stairwell, there's a corner. There's a dude and a girl just standing there. The dude's got his hand on the wall in front of her, so he's standing there. She's in the corner, very corner of that whole wall under the stairwell. He's in front of her, hand on the wall, other hand, like I don't even know where the other hand was. I couldn't see it, and I just walk up and staring at them. I'm like, what the hell? And the dude hasn't even reacted. He's still sitting there with his hand on the wall, talking to keying up with his girl or whatever. And I see the girl's head just slowly come through into my vision from around him, and she just goes wide-eyed to look at me, mouth open and everything, and like shouts this dude's name. I don't remember what she said, but she shouts this dude's name, and he quickly puts his arm down, turns, jumps around, basically stares at me. I'm still basically standing in the exact same spot where I was, right in front of the door, standing there, phone in my hand, staring up at them. I don't know what face I was making, but probably looking like this. And now that they were both looking at me, I came back into reality. I was like, I gotta get to class. So I just nodded at the dude and kept walking, and quickly went up around and up the stairs into class. And while I didn't even think much about it. I was like, oh, that was weird. There's 2 people under the stairs. It was during class, basically. It's kind of weird. And like me now, like understanding what was going on and who knows what they were doing, you see what I'm saying? They were obviously on a side quest. And nowadays, I'd be hoping for something like this to happen to me. I straight up be walking in any stairwell with anybody. I'm like, someone behind the stairs? Like, who's back there? What's going on? But I never like run back and check, because if there was some back there, I'm not trying to hold them, you know what I'm saying? Even though I don't know them, I'm not trying to sell them on their mission, you see what I'm saying? So I might like slightly walk over to the side, but I never want to fully look around, because if there was someone there, that's going to be the most awkward interaction I've had in my entire life. Like, I'm just joking around, so like, who's back here? Like, trust me, even if I'm clowning around being like, who's under the stairs, if I get the slight hints that there actually is somebody under the stairs, or no, there's people under the stairs, I'm not gonna hold you. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. So I've talked about and shown you guys my W's to a point you guys think I've never taken an L. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I've taken some L's.
Looking for the shootout! That was contested.
I'm probably the airball final boss. Now, I've had my fair share of fumbles, but I also feel like nowadays people don't understand what fumbling is. People be like, oh, a girl curved you, you fumbled. Nah. Fumbling means you had possession. Like, you can't fumble somebody if the ball was never in your hands. Stay with me now. Now, like, for example, when I was a junior, I was sorta talking to this girl. And when I say sorta, I mean, like, she had just got a relationship and wasn't over her ex. And then you had me, the clueless, very dense, low-level dreadhead I was at the time. So, you know, we had been like texting, calling, talking, walking together at school, the whole routine, right? And at one point, I was like, I'm not trying to have this just be a school thingy and just, you know, only interact inside of school. And this was before I had my truck, so it wasn't like as easy as, let me come pick you up. So I remember one time I texted her, like, we should hang out for real. And she was like, yes, we should. I was like... What would you like want to do? There's this park near my house, we could chill there. Oh, bet, let's do that for sure. So after planning an outside of school link at a park on the weekend, I was like, bet, I'm trying to make this happen ASAP, no Rocky. And the day before, she texted me, she's busy. And I was like, oh, that's fine. What about I'm busy then too? And me being the innocent low-level dreadhead I was like, oh, she must really be busy then. So I chilled out and waited like a week or two later, and then I tried again. I was like, hey, we should dev hang out. Oh, I gotta do something. Yo, are you free this weekend? No, sorry. So now after my like 36th try on trying to hang out with this girl outside of school, I just stopped trying to. Like, shooters shoot, and I was shooting, and not a single one went into the net, bro. And like, I didn't even think anything of it, cause like after that bit, that was about as much effort I ever put in while we talked. Like, I'm being dead ass too. Like, I never made a move on her, which was kind of like 45% I was too scared, and then like 55% I'm just a chill guy who just likes to draw pictures on the internet. And I remember like last year when I was a senior and me and that girl had long stopped talking. I was walking one of my homeboys and we somehow got on the topic of that, and he was like, bro, what happened between you two? You were in there. I was not in there. And he basically said that I fumbled because she was fine and whatnot. And I'm walking thinking to myself, nah, I don't think I did, because I was on the court, right? But the ball was never in my hands. Stay with me now. And like nowadays, with the knowledge I've gained in my years, you know what I'm saying, as I've reached unk status, and I'm not saying that like I've talked to like a whole lot of girls, I haven't, but there's some like obvious things that'll happen that you'll see that will happen enough times that you'll start to understand it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if they're constantly busy and they're busy every time you want to hang out and their reasons aren't reasonable, then they're just excuses. And I feel like most people who have talked to or messed with somebody who we can refer to as a 10 out of 10, I think we all know that if they're an actual 10 out of 10, you aren't the only person who is gonna think that. So fumbling a 10 out of 10 can be really easy. Like, not even on some, oh, you made one mistake or did this one thing she ain't like, or you know, the ick or whatever. I mean, like, you make one mistake and that leaves an opening for 30 other people who are trying to mess with that 10 out of 10 fine shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're really playing a dangerous game when it comes to trying to secure a 10 out of 10. I would know. But I'm not trying to like discourage anyone from shooting their shot. Like, even if there is mad comp, and there will be, and if it's a 10 out of 10 that you think you have no chance with, still go for it, gang. Like, it's better to airball than to not know if you would have made the shot. But don't just keep shooting at the same person if you airball too many times, because airballing multiple times in the same court is just bad looks overall. So losing them can be literally the easiest thing in the world. Sometimes you don't even have to do anything to fumble. You can literally just be not the best option. You see what I'm saying? And now I'm not saying now everyone has like 30 options, but these certain people might have 30 options and you might be low on the list. That's why I said earlier it's a dangerous game. You truly wouldn't know if you fumbled or not already too, because I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm not just messing with you no more, because you know how people be, bro. You know how people be, bro. Some people like to keep, you know, people around, or maybe are just don't want to be mean about it. You know what I'm saying? Moral of the story is, if you're trying to not fumble a 10 out of 10, there's just one simple trick you gotta follow, and it's school hallways, man. School hallways are the definition of unpredictable. Like, for most people, it's just a hallway you walk up and down every day to get to your classes, and for some people, it's a battleground. And you guys know what I'm talking about, when a fight breaks out in the hallway and it just becomes a crowd of people recording and instigating and a form of entertainment for mad people in the hallway. Now, I gotta start off by talking about one of the things I hate most about walking in hallways: walking around corners. Like, anytime I have school, I'm walking up to a corner that I gotta get around, I'm thinking, please no one just spawn in, because there's been so many times where I've just walked up to a corner to get around it and almost ran into somebody. Like, one time out of the 40 times that it happened to me, I was walking up to a corner and I was on my phone looking down, you feel me? But at the same time, I was looking up at an angle where I could see in my peripheral vision a little bit in front of me so I wouldn't run into anybody. But for a split second, I couldn't see in front of me, and after running the corner, I almost slammed into this random girl. I just stopped in place and like halted, and so did she. And then we did that awkward thing where we're trying to get around somebody, but both of you end up going the same way, and it's just hella awkward. After that certain situation happened to me like 27 times, too many times to count, I would just hate walking up to corners, because I knew somehow, some way, some person was gonna come flying around the corner out of absolutely nowhere. So I started, when walking up to a corner, walking at it at an angle. At this certain angle, I could see anyone walking up towards the corner. So basically, I would avoid walking around the corner entirely. But I didn't do this all the time, because I dad would look crazy hitting corners at an angle like it was a curve on the track. Now, another thing that I think everyone here can agree on that sucks is just the amount of people in the hallways in the first place. Like, bro, at my school, in certain areas where a lot of people gotta go through to get to their class, it gets deep in there. Like, I mean, kids going one way, kids going through those kids going the other way. It just gets crazy, especially like trying to go down the stairs of my school. Like, my freshman year in high school, the freshman pod, they had like a staircase labeled down, which is the staircase you go down, and then another staircase on the other side labeled up, which is the one you go up, right? So they wouldn't have this problem, people coming up and down one set of stairs. But nowadays, it's just free for all staircases are used for up and down purposes, which you would think would cause problems, right? Like, I would be going down a staircase with 40 other people also going down with me. And then you got little Jim trying to squeeze his way up the stairs against traffic, just squeezing his way in between people, trying to slither his way like a snake up the stairs. And then some people don't do this and just sit at the bottom of the stairs and create like a line of people also trying to go up the stairs where everyone's going down the stairs, so this causes more traffic in the hallway. So when I get down the stairs, I gotta like juke out and maneuver myself past these people just standing there waiting. And then sometimes it be happening the other way around. I'll be going up the stairs, you feel me, like 40 other people going up the stairs, and I'll start seeing the people in front of me part like the Red Sea and see like 2 people coming down the stairs. So I also gotta move out the way for them, which is so annoying because while I'm sidestepping to move out the way, I just slam into the person next to me. And honestly, I'm surprised so far in my entire time in high school, there wasn't like a fatal staircase incident where someone like tripped down the stairs and took like 20 people with them, like dominoes or something. Like the chances of that happening at my school and probably other schools too has gotta be high. Like there's gotta be somewhere that something like that has happened. People just falling down the stairs, causing like a catastrophic, I don't even know, bro. And now, like I said earlier, the amount of people in hallways just sucks. Like the hallway at my school that everyone walks through is called Main Street, and it's like the biggest hallway in my school that separates the building into 2 pieces sort of. And sometimes I would have my classes on one side of the school and then my next class on the other side of the school, so I had to walk across Main Street, the big hallway, to get to the other side of the school in 5 minutes because that was passing period. And most of the time this walking distance from one side of the school to the other side of the school would take the whole 5 minutes, so I had to get there while walking through this hallway. And there would be usually this one person or multiple people who, you know, will be walking as slow as humanly possible, bro. I mean 1 step per year on, bro. And you'll know if they're walking mad slow or not because there will be a gap in front of them they made from walking so slow. And they have all the people walking normal speed, and then you got them causing a part in the hallway traffic because they're walking so goddamn slow. And now I'm not saying I haven't personally walked really slow before, just not to a point where it made a gap in the hallway, you see what I'm saying? And when I'm behind these people that are walking this slow, it's just like I want to flat tire them and walk away like I didn't do it, you see what I'm saying? And I get it, yeah, you have every right to walk as fast or as slow as you want, but don't do it in front of me, bro. And another thing that just be wild in the hallway is the hallway runners. Like the amount of time I've seen people moving to get to their next class. And it's funny, like last year I walked around during passing period after my 5th period, and there's this one kid who would run past me and my homeboy every day. I mean every time we were there, we would just hear zooming loud ass footsteps behind us, and this dude would like slither through people to get to his class, and he would just zoom into his classroom. And like after every time he did that, everyone in the hallway would just look around at each other like, why the hell was he doing that, you feel me? I'm not gonna say I haven't ran to class before personally, because I did one time, and it basically taught me a lesson on how you shouldn't be running up and down the hallway. So basically I'd walk with this girl I used to talk to her class on the other side of the school during passing period, while my class was back on the opposite side of school. So when I'd walk her down there, I had to walk back. And one time after walking her down there, I had like 5 tardies. I was 5 tardies deep, which meant if I had gotten another one, or I got 1 hour D-haul, and it was just a whole thing that wasn't gonna work for me, gang. So I dead took off once I hit the bottom of the stairs. And I run track, so I could easily close this gap of a giant hallway while it was empty too. Nice and easy, you feel me? I was moving, I was cruising, I was in my forces too, so it's kind of hard to run, but I was cooking it, right? And then literally out of nowhere, I mean out of thin air, I didn't see them, these 2 girls walked out of a door in the side of the hallway, and you can already guess what happened. I was moving too fast, I couldn't slow down, bam, I just slammed right into both of them, basically almost running over this one girl because she was like 4'10", and I was like, I said sorry like 20 times while running away because I was like, I know that what just happened, I felt really bad, but I had to get to class, bro. So I fled the scene of the crime, and that whole thing and situation that happened right there was like, this is why you don't run in hallways, kids, because getting end up with you running someone over. But all the bad that comes from hallways, there's a lot of good, you feel what I'm saying? I've had a lot of good memories in hallways, a lot of good laughs, a lot of good funnies, a lot of wandering around with people, a lot of just chilling. So I appreciate school hallways at the same time. So for me personally, when I'm chilling and walking to my next class and I see a baddie, I mean like shorty fine, and I look at her like damn, and I keep it pushing, and then the next day the same location, same hallway, same time, I see her, same thing as yesterday, damn she bad. Skip to day 4 of this process, I'm like, oh yeah, she my hallway crush on bro, and I'd be like, oh yeah she bad, but I ain't gonna talk to her or try nothing, because when it comes to my hallway crushes personally, like with me, it's just like I'm acknowledging the fact that she's bad and moving on. Like I won't ever try anything, especially when it comes down to a girl I think that is pretty or attractive or whatever. Like I will make direct eye contact with them, like I'm gonna look her straight in her face, and she look back at me, I'm gonna hold eye contact for like 2 seconds and then keep it pushing. Like I said, I'm not pursuing that, and I'm not even the type to go up to girls in the first place. Like I'd rather them approach me if they want to approach me, you see what I'm saying? But like 2 weeks ago, I was tweaking out this day, I was moving different, and I was walking back from lunch with my friend, and while I was walking, I dead was like on a scouting mission, like I mean looking through the crowds of people as they walked by, and no glaze, but I saw probably probably one of the most attractive girls I've seen in a minute. Anyway, I saw her, I looked at her, I liked what I saw, and like I said, I like making direct eye contact with them, so I looked right at her, and then she looked right at me, and we held eye contact for like a minute, and I was thinking, damn! And then I turned back around to look away from her, and walked like 7 more footsteps, and I was like, I'm gonna hit a look back, like, I had to, come on bro, like I had to look one more time. So I turned around to see her one more time, and she was still looking at me, gang, and I was dead and not expecting that whatsoever. So when I saw her looking, I whipped my head back really quickly, because shorty had me on a trance or something, I don't know, had me feeling a little silly. And after I looked away, I had a real life quick time event, and the options were to go get her number or something, or keep it pushing. But it was dead different this time, because afterward, I was like, I sold the bag. Like, I don't see girls like her every day at my school. Like, that was literally the first time I ever seen her before in the first place. So I was like, okay, tomorrow, I'm gonna hopefully see her walking back from lunch. And I would do this by taking the exact same route and walking the exact same speed. And basically doing everything exactly the same. So I can have that chance encounter and just experience it one more time, you feel me? And then do what I gotta do. Now, I know that sounds OD, but bro, I don't know. I was on a main mission and I was gonna complete it. So the next day during lunch, I was at this volleyball game, so I didn't end up seeing her on my route because it was completely changed. So cut to the next day. I'm walking with one of my friends back from lunch, and I'm in the hallway where I saw her 2 days ago at this point. And after a big group of people went by and I didn't see her, I was like, damn, it is what it is. And while thinking that mid-sentence, in my mind, I saw her and her friend walking, and I looked at her and she looked at me, and with no hesitation, I walked up to her with my phone already in my hand, because you know what it is with me. And I said, can I get your Insta? And she was like, I don't have Insta, but you got my number. And with zero hesitation, once again, I said bet, pulled out my contacts, she put her number on my phone, and she also had a cool ass name. But anyway, I got her number, I said nice meeting you, and shook her hand like a gentleman and walked away to my friend, who was yelling the Rizzler in the middle of the hallway. But this is like the first and only time that I've approached a girl, so I'm like 1 for 1, but I still rather a girl come up to me. I just had to make a different decision for this certain girl, you feel me? Cause she bad, like, you know what I'm saying, she bad. But let's get to the OD stuff. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but when I see a girl, right, maybe more than once in a certain hallway, see her go to her class or something, you know, and know where she's gonna be, I would dead sometimes, now hear me out when I say sometimes, I would sometimes change my entire walking route just to see that girl again. Now I know that's OD and it sounds crazy, but I'm not the only one, bro, I promise you. Like, there's plenty of people who I know be going on side quests, walking to the opposite side of the building in the school just to see or talk to one girl. And so you can't say nothing about me slightly changing my route just to get another glance, you know what I'm saying? Like, once I have the location on my classes memorized, I can take any route to get to my class and not be late. So it's fine if I take a left instead of a right this time, and then, you know, while I'm taking that left, I just happened to run into this one girl I saw in the hallway like 35 minutes ago. You know, I look at her, she looks at me, whatever, you feel me? If it happens, it happens. It's just coincidence, obviously. I didn't like plan that out or anything. And then sometimes, me personally, I do this in the complete opposite context, like to avoid a girl, which I've already had to do this year, but that's a different story for a whole different time. Now back to one of the things I said earlier about me. When it comes to like a hallway crush, it's nothing I'm gonna pursue. It's just like a girl I might think is attractive or cute or pretty or whatever. I might look at her. Now this look is very important. I hit her with the light skin. Sin City wasn't made for you, know what I'm saying? This look is very important, because say they look at you back, right? You make eye contact, you hold eye contact or whatever, they recognize your face. So the next time when you accidentally run into them, quotations on accidentally, you can hit that same look and they're gonna look at you again, you know what I'm saying? You get in her head, she start thinking about you. But this eye contact has to be perfect. Like, you can't just be like staring at somebody like a crazy person. Like, especially if you look weird, bro, you just, it's gonna ruin the whole thing. Cause like, say some girl or whoever your hallway crush is or whatever is walking by and you're just staring at the person and you're just like dead ass just staring at them like a psychopath, that's definitely gonna put them off, and it's just not gonna work out for you, you know what I'm saying? One of my favorite moves that I do lots of times, especially whoever I think is like hella bad, like if she's bad, I'll hit the look back, which I'm pretty sure everyone does this. Like, you'll look at a girl as she walked by, and once she's behind you, you turn around, you see what I'm saying, to look at her again. Like, I only do that on rare occasions because like you can't be giving nobody the look back. But in all seriousness, if anyone watching this got a legit hallway crush and it's someone you dead want to like pursue and get after, like, shoot your shot for real. Like imagine you die tomorrow, then what? You ain't gonna be able to talk to them or holler at them because you're gonna be dead, gang. Like, you're gonna be in the ground. So, you know what I'm saying, live your life, go get after your hallway crush if you genuinely want that person, because you never know what could happen. And you might be saying like, Jace, but I'm afraid of rejection or whatever. If you do end up getting rejected, just keep it pushing, just move on. Like, there's other fish in the sea, there's other people, you know what I'm saying? Especially comes in a hallway crush and you probably don't even know them, like just keep it pushing. It doesn't even matter, bro. And me personally, I think about like everything happens for a reason, you know? So like if you get rejected, then that person wasn't meant to be in your life, you know what I'm saying? So you just gotta keep it pushing. So back in November of 2023, I had started talking to this girl, and pretty much the rest of that week and throughout most of December, we were talking every day. We started calling and we really started to connect, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to get like super corny right off the bat in this video because I'm on YouTube and everything, but we were like literally the same person. Like the amount of times me and her would text each other the same thing or say the same thing at the exact same time or be thinking the same thing during a call or anything was crazy. Like I would be thinking the exact same thing she would be thinking. Like it's just crazy. We would just be able to relate to each other about a lot of different things that I never thought I would be able to relate to somebody with. Like we literally related over Splatoon and using the rollers in the game. Like so after getting the biggest crush on this girl in less than like a week of knowing her, I was like, yeah, I gotta see her. We just gotta hang out together. So in December during winter break, I was like planning to go see her, right? Now see, here's the fun part I haven't mentioned yet. She lives 3.5 hours away from me. So this is why I hadn't seen her at any point since we had started talking, even though I wanted to see her so badly. So I was literally waiting till winter break to come so I can go see her. So near the end of the first week of our winter break, we planned a date and a time that I would go see her. And basically I would have to leave my house around 8 to get to her like 11 something. And now here's another problem I'm kind of sort of ran into during this whole situation that was happening. I had to get around my mom because another funny thing I had to mention at the time, I haven't even told my mom the existence of her yet, and I didn't know how to, especially at this point, to be like, Mom, can I drive like 3 hours away to go see this girl I met like a month ago over Instagram? Like, nah, my mom would have said no immediately and be like, you're crazy, what are you talking about, 3 hours away, Instagram? It was a whole just, you know, a bunch of woo whoop, and I wasn't going for it, and I'm stubborn, so I felt like I literally could not go another day without seeing this woman IRL. So I made the plan. Basically, I would tell my mom I was going to hang out with my friends, and I named off 2 of my friends, right? So she knows them, she knows these people, so she think I'll be off with them, and I was like, yeah, I'll go hang out with my friends all day, so that gave me a cover while I go see my girl. Now this plan wasn't foolproof, obviously. I'm gonna tell you that right now, because me and my girl were planning on going ice skating, getting food, and then going to see lights. It was a whole day thing, and I obviously there's no way I was gonna get away with it for that long. But yeah, you know, we had all these fun activities planned, and I was like, okay, we can do all that, and I can get home back around like 11 p.m. if I leave there at 8, and bam, everything goes amazingly perfect, and my mom never finds out, right? So I woke up extra early that day and then got ready like I was about to go see the prettiest girl alive, because I was, for real. And then I also had like a present for her because it was Christmas time. It was these Lego flowers she wanted, and I wrapped it up and everything. And then I had another problem I ran into. How was I gonna sneak downstairs and put this in my car with my mom noticing? So I dead ass went downstairs halfway ready, did the whole cartoon tiptoe through the kitchen to go put my gift up, and mom saw me and she thought it was for my sister, so I put it up and I was chilling. So I tiptoed back up the stairs, finished getting ready and everything, you know what I'm saying, had to look good for my future bae. And I was nervous, bro, and I was stalling a little bit coming down the stairs, all slow and everything, because I hadn't even informed my mom yet that I wanted to go hang out with my friends and all that stuff. Plus it was like 7 in the morning, so I went downstairs and asked my mom if I can go get breakfast with my friends and then probably go to the mall later, all cap obviously. And she said yes, so I quickly got upstairs, finished fully getting ready, got in the V, and started on my journey. Now I left around like 8 something, and it would take me 3 hours and like 45 minutes plus traffic to get there. So after jamming out to music and being geeked pretty much the whole time because I was about to see my girl, I finally made it to her city. And this was honestly the furthest drive I've ever done in my entire life. This was the first time I drove really far. Like I literally drove on like the interstate for like 3 hours. I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing it, you feel me? But yeah, once I got to her city, like out of literally nowhere, this entire like wave of nervousness started to hit me and like anxiety, and I was just like, bro, I'm really here doing this. I'm really here and I'm really about to see my girl. Like this is crazy. So I got on the street that led down to her neighborhood and I started driving like slow as hell. I mean, probably the slowest I've driven the entire time since I left my house that morning. And I was just scared, bro. Like I don't know, I was scared. Like, and now I was just driving slow and everything, but it didn't really matter because next thing you know, I was pulling up to her house and I parked my car and I just sat there for a minute. And I had like already texted my girl saying that I was there, but I was like just, you know, sitting in the car taking a moment to like collect myself. Had to like, I don't know, probably should have meditated or something. I don't know. I was just trying to get more of the nervousness out of me and be like, let's be cool, you know what I'm saying? But you know, basically I got out of the car and slowly and nervously walked up to her front door, and I rang the doorbell and waited for about 3 seconds, because then she threw the door open and I saw her. And And literally the first thing she said to me was, "You're real." I was just standing there like in shock, cause like she was just as pretty in real life as she was over the phone. And then we hugged, and God, she smells so good. Anyway, I went inside, met her mom, and her mom is great. I love her mom. And I gave my girl her gift, which she loved, and she gave me gifts that she got for me, which I loved. And then we ended up watching this Netflix show on our couch that we were both watching at the time, and I was still like very nervous. I mean, like I was shaking, bro. So when we got to the couch, I did sat there like this, and then a little bit later she ended up putting her legs on top of mine. I almost died when that happened for some reason. And eventually I got less nervous and more relaxed and comfortable, and we started just kind of like cuddling a little bit on the couch, chilling for a few hours, and watched the show. And watched the show, you know what I'm saying? That's all happened. And then like around 12:30 we left to go ice skating, and I was excited but also scared as hell, because I hadn't ice skated since I was like 10, so I knew this was going to be a struggle for me. So when we got to the ice skating place, we got inside, we got our skates and everything. After we put them on, I tried to stand up upright, not like on the carpet, on the floor we were standing on. And then this is where the realization hit that this is going to be real fun, because I could barely balance on the carpet. So imagine how this was going to be on actual ice. So I held my girl's hand like a little kid while she led us to the rink, and once we got in there, I took like one step onto the rink and almost died. I felt both my feet almost slip, almost hit the splits and everything. And then she just casually got onto the ice and gracefully skated on. And I was like, bruh. So at first I had to hold on to the railing along the side, like waddle along the side of it while I got used to ice skating, and my girl was just casually skating around perfectly around me and everything, looking all good and stuff. And eventually I gained enough confidence to go skate on my own, and when I say by myself, I mean holding my girl's hand tightly, because I was scared I would fall the second I let go. And she made sure I didn't fall, because like every 5 minutes I would lose my balance, start going crazy, my feet slipping around like a cartoon, and she would catch me literally every time, and I look at her like this when she did. But yeah, literally was having the time of my life ice skating with my girl. I felt like a little kid when I was there with her. We ended up just skating around together, and everything was great, you know what I'm saying? Besides the fact, I don't think she wants me to tell you guys this, but like when we were skating, little kids were out there, right? They be falling and getting hurt, and she would dead laugh at them. Like, she might deny it, but I was there, you know what I'm saying? I watched, didn't laugh either. I had a straight face. I felt bad, but she was laughing at little kids falling over, guys. And then sometimes her even knowing that I was still getting used to ice skating, I could fall any moment and break both my legs and die, she would just let go of my hand and leave me. I'd be like, no, and I would just stand there awkwardly, because I knew if I took another step, I would be on my ass in 3 seconds. But she did always come back to come hold my hand again, so we chilling. And while having all this fun, my phone started buzzing, and I checked it. It was my mom, and I was like, okay, it's probably just, you know, her checking on me, like where I was and everything. And I was like, okay, let me just take this and everything will be good. So I told my girl that my mom was calling and to hold up, and then I answered very nervously, and she was asking where I was. And I was like, oh, I'm at the mall with my friends. And she says okay, and told me to be home soon, and then we hung up. And I was like, okay, got past that little hiccup, you know what I'm saying? And then I caught up to my girl, and I thought everything was amazing and fine. I thought we were about to go the rest of the day. My plan was gonna work, right? 10 minutes passed, some more ice skating, fun with Bae, and then my phone starts ringing again. And I was like, okay, why's my phone ringing again? I checked it. It was my mom. I was like, oh no, a second call. This can't be good. And I answered, and she goes, whole tone changed from a couple minutes ago. She goes, wherever you are, come home right now. Call this can't be good. And I answered, and she goes, whole tone changed from a couple minutes ago. She goes, wherever you are, come home right now. So if you haven't seen part 1, basically I lied to my mom, snuck off to a city 3.5 hours away to see my future girlfriend, but the time I had just started talking to the month before. I was standing there shook, trust me. I just felt like 3% of my black mother's power through the phone. I was terrified, literally heard nothing but the heartbeat in my chest, and it was speeding up too. And I was so cooked, like beyond cooked. And even though I still only had like one thing in my mind, which is my girl. So I told my mom okay, and then she started to question me, asking where I was, and I paused and thought about it because I didn't know how to tell her this. And then I told her the city I'm in, like under my breath. I was just like, you know, and my mom paused and didn't say anything for a second because she knew what city it was and how far away it was from us. So the pause had me even more scared. Then she said, who are you with? And again, under my breath and scared out of my mind, I said, with a girl. And she paused again, and I was just standing there, phone in my hand, staring at the glass in front of me that wrapped around the skating rink. And then my mom said, come home now and call me when you're leaving and on the road. And then I hung up, and I was just standing there like, what the hell kind of situation have I put myself into? And then I turned around around and saw my girl coming back over to me, and she looked hella worried. So I just basically broke down everything to her that happened, and I was just like low-key sad. She was too, because it was like 1 something and we still had plans to go get food and go see lights, and now I literally had to go home now or there would be no more Jaicemations, you feel me? So we walked out of the rink, and while we were taking off our ice skates, we kind of just like comforted each other because we both obviously didn't want this date to end, especially so early. So we just kind of, you know, sat there, yapped about everything, and after a little bit of yapping, we left and went back to the car. And once again, when we got there, we was just more comforting each other, and I was just making sure that she knew that I had the most amazing time with her, and every part of everything that happened that day and so far was worth it, even though in the back of my mind I felt like my mom's aura growing. So we ended up literally just sitting in the car talking to each other for like another hour, just talking back and forth about literally anything and everything. And that's yeah, that's about it. We just talked, really nothing else happened, you know what I'm saying? Really wholesome, cute stuff, you know what I'm saying? I really told her how much I enjoyed my time with her and everything, and it was cute. And then like at one point I checked my phone and saw that my 2 friends that I told my mom I was with earlier texted me asking where I was. And the second I read that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm cooked, because I already knew that my mom texted one of their moms, and then when one of their moms asked them if they were with me and they said no, my plan probably blew up even more. My mom ended up calling me a couple more times, but I was scared to answer, like literally terrified, because I knew what was waiting for me on the other side of that phone, and I didn't want my girl to sit there and watch me get yelled at through the phone, because she was already like, what if I never see you again? And I was just like, no, don't think like that, we will see each other again. And we were both just happy but sad because we knew we'd be parting ways soon. And I told her that my whole plan wasn't meant to work out in the first place. It was supposed to, obviously, but I just wanted to reassure her. But my plan to come all the way to her, stay there into the night, and then go home late as hell without my mom knowing had like a 5% chance of working. So I was just like, I wanted the plan to work long enough for me to get there, to see her, and then that's what happened. We spent 3 hours together before my plan blew up, and she was worried that my mom was gonna literally kill me. And it was just us in the car yapping about everything and anything, including the fact that really soon I have to take her home and return to my house, where I didn't know if I'd leave there alive. So eventually I had to take her home, sadly, because my mom was spam calling me and hella worried. So I took my girl home, walked her up to her door, we had one last hug and kiss, and I got to stare into her pretty ass eyes one more time, and then I walked away waving at her. And then I got back to my car, texted her telling her how much fun I had, and then the looming aura of my angry mother hit me. Like the big ass smile I had on my face from seeing my girl and having so much fun with her from our date was gone, just like that. I knew I was cooked, like really cooked. Like I dug myself into a hole and I didn't think I was gonna be able to climb out of it, but it hadn't fully hit me yet. So cut to like 30 minutes into my drive, and this is also after like 2 or 3 calls with my mom. At this point my mom was more worried than angry because her son up and disappeared for a girl. And yes, I know it was dangerous and crazy and like beyond stupid, but I did not regret it at all. Like I had so much fun with my girl, and the enjoyment of seeing my girl and everything that happened that day, like that kind of kept me sane on the way back home. And it was a very chill drive back home, you know what I'm saying? Fuck. And while driving, of course, I had to fight the urge to text and drive into my phone. I knew my girl was worried about me, and I really wanted to text her, but obviously was like, I have to get home safe for her and for my family, of course. But like, I had to get home safe so I could see her again, obviously, at some point. So once I got back into my city, the reality of everything once again hit me. I'm still very cooked, and it was even worse when I pulled up to my house, because when I pulled up into my driveway, I looked at my house and felt like some spiritual pressure emitting from my house. I was like, oh god. I felt like the sheer power of an angry black mother erupting from my house. It was like an aura was emitting around my house itself, and I felt like the hairs on my arms stand up as I parked my car in the garage. And now I know what you guys are saying, your bro is exaggerating like crazy. Like, no, you guys do not understand the fear I felt, especially for those of you who don't have black moms. Like, I was cooked. So I slowly walked up to the door and opened it. So when I was in elementary school, after I would get out of school, there was like a routine I had. I would go outside with all my friends and we would play at this park all day, basically. Literally just countless hours and hours and hours of tag in this game called Ghost in the Graveyards, which still to this day, I have no clue why it is called that, but that's what the game was called. And it was a game where everyone would have to get to this bench that one person was guarding, and usually it was my core friend group that would play this game, and it was 4 of us. So one person guarding and the 3 others trying to get to the bench. And this game made you get real creative with trying to get to the bench, I'm gonna tell you that. But one day, it was after school in like 5 or 6 p.m. and I was outside like usual. Now I wasn't with my main guys this day. I was with like these other group of kids from my school and that like lived around the neighborhood and whatnot. Now like 2 of them went to my school and one of them, who named Toby, I had played football with, so I knew him. Everyone else, we were kind of like mutual friends of each other and everything. And I didn't even know Toby like that or none of these kids, but they were chilling at a park across the street from my main park, and I was just like, why not chill with them? Plus it was easy to chill with random people when I was a kid. So I went up chilling at their park, and we're all just kind of messing around at this park, just running around into the road, just being stupid kids, right? And at one point we're all sitting down just talking, and one of the dudes started talking about playing hide and seek tag, which is just hide and seek, but you know, you gotta tag somebody so it counts to you finding them and whatnot. And if they tagged you, you gotta help them like seek and look for more people. So it's kind of like an infection, and we all agreed because when it came to games like this, it was like life or death, and we took this shit beyond seriously. So the game started with this kid who will name Liam being the seeker, and we all just kind of sprinted into different directions from the park to go hide, and I chose to go hide across the street at my main park behind this giant bush, and it was like literally the perfect spot, not only because I was hidden from the POV of Liam, but also because I could see everyone over there. And I dead saw my friend Toby in one of the sorriest spots I've seen like someone possibly think of. Bro was behind a tree. Like, come on, bro, it's like most basic trash spots. We know this is basic hide and seek knowledge, you feel me? And I was like, he's definitely gonna be found like immediately. And then I looked back to where Liam was counting and he was gone, and I was like, oh shit, because my whole reason for being in this spot, like I said, was to keep my eye on everybody over there and where everyone was at all times, so I could easily win this. But I had no clue where he was now, and all I could see was Toby in this sorry ass spot and an empty park. And from around the corner, after a little bit of looking around trying to see where everyone is at, I hear and zooming around the corner comes this kid who will name Ethan. Now bro came around the corner running and screaming like whoever was behind him was trying to kill him, and he wasn't wrong for that, because right behind him Liam was sprinting after him full speed with red in his eyes, and it looked like Ethan would definitely get caught, which would be a huge problem for the rest of us, turning one seeker into 2. And like while Ethan was being chased, I see this other kid Owen come out from behind the fence next to his house, and he start trying to sneak across the street while Liam was after Ethan. And I just see Liam and Ethan coming around the corner, but it didn't look like Ethan was still being chased by him. It looked like they were running together, and the second I realized that, so did Owen, who was trying to sneak across the street still, because he looked over in my direction, pointed to exactly where I was, and screamed, "Chase over there!" And I was like, shit. So after Owen threw me to the wolves, I left my hiding spot running like a madman across the street towards Toby, because I know I wasn't the only one getting hoed here. Like if Owen was gonna hoe me, I was gonna hoe Toby. That's how we were doing. We were all going down. I don't care. And then the seekers split, Ethan going for Owen and Liam started running towards where I was going, which was to Toby's tree. Now I already knew Toby had a decision to make. Toby would either have to run away from Liam towards my direction, which would make Liam then have to chase after both of us, which with the risk of Ethan possibly changing his focus to us if getting Owen was too hard. But this decision could also get us both hoed, but maybe this was his plan all along, since I was running in his direction on purpose because I wanted to hoe him because my spot got exposed. Or Toby could be running in Liam's direction, which would make it seem like he was just trying to save himself, but he actually wanted to get himself tagged just to get me out and hoe me because I tried to hoe him. And then Toby looked at Liam running towards him and then looked at me, and they just turned around and ran straight into my direction. And I was still running in his direction, so I was like, oh shit. So I had to slow down almost to a stop and try to turn around and pivot in place while Toby ran past me into freedom land. And since I did all that, I lost all my speed. Before I can even process Toby's actions here, I didn't know what to do. I slowed down. I had to turn back around, obviously, because Liam was coming around the corner of that tree in my direction and Toby was already gone in the wind. So I started running back, but it was too late. I was already hoed, because before I can even make up any more ground on Liam, he caught up to me and tagged me, and I was just beyond mad because I got hoed 3 times in the course of 1 minute out of my spot by Toby and then tagged by Liam. And then, you know, pretty much everything ended real quick once I was it, because I was just so much faster than everyone else that this game was pretty much over. And when I say over, I mean I hawked down everyone who was left alive, especially Toby. So then a little later we were all chilling again, figuring out what to do now, because we're all kind of just bored of playing hide and seek and tag and all these other games we were doing, just mostly involving running around, which was tiring us out, and we're trying to figure out what to do. Now I don't know how we got on the topic of doing this, but we wanted to ding dong ditch. Now everyone was just talking about we should do some houses nearby, and then Ethan had the idea to ding dong ditch this girl's house that went to our school, and very conveniently she lived like 5 houses down from the park. So we all got up, walked around and up to her house, and I was low-key scared as hell, because like what if we walked up to the house and they answered like this? But everyone else seemed pretty pumped, and Toby was like, guys, when we get there, one person rings the doorbell and knocks on the door, right? And then everyone else hide nearby, and then we all run, okay? Bet, yup, alright, for sure. So we all walked up to her driveway onto her porch, and then Toby had chosen himself for the quest, for the main mission. He went up to their door while me and everyone else hid behind these pillars connected to her porch, and he looked around real quick, left and right, all goofy like, and then knocked on the door and turned around, running past all of us. And before any of us can even utter a what the hell, because he was supposed to ring the doorbell too, me, Owen, Liam, and Ethan all scrambled down their driveway like some chickens with no heads, literally just running around like we all just had got caught, and we just sprinted across the street in the direction Toby went, and we all crossed the road and hid across the street behind a fence at an angle where they couldn't see us if they did come outside. And then we all just stared at each other out of breath and shit, and then we started laughing because it was the goofiest shit we have ever did. We all just kind of stayed in our retreat location until we thought the coast was clear. A little scared, I'm not even gonna lie to you, that we would still get caught, but happy because that shit was fun. Walk back to the bus, that's for sure. We kind of maybe felt like it was Arnold's fault Malachi almost freaking died because he made us stand in that bee-filled grass. And us personally, we weren't gonna let that slide. So there we are, me, Turner, Malachi, sitting in the back of the gaming corner on the counter at my daycare. We were just waiting for another group of kids to get done playing on the GameCube, and we were just talking, and then the top of the last field trip came up, which is to a nearby park, and the whole thing got cut short because Malachi got stung by a bee. He's allergic to bees, so you can guess how that ended up going. But we were talking about how Arnold, which if you're new and don't know about this D1 antagonist, this man has been our main op since one of our first field trips during the summer to a skating rink. And we were just talking about how Arnold has just been a problem, and instead of us trying to press him back, you feel me, with some passive aggression like he does every time he sees us, we just thought of a plan to ignore him and avoid him altogether so he wouldn't even get the chance to press us. So like a week goes by of us ignoring Arnold and his attempts to anger us or just get a reaction out of us, and we high-key thought this plan was working. Like we thought it was the best plan ever. We were all like, yo, it's working, he's gonna get bored eventually, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we were very wrong, because behind the scenes, Arnold was low-key getting madder and madder at us, which we had no clue whatsoever. So it was the same day during lunch, we were just chilling and eating these little mini burgers or sliders, and usually our teachers wouldn't watch us because like the little lunchroom was like right next to the front of the daycare and the back, so like any teacher could walk by and see us, you feel me? So usually after we got our food, we were left alone. So while eating, it was me, Turner, Malachi, and some random other kids, can't remember any of them, and you know, we were just chilling, probably talking about Pokemon or Minecraft or something, you feel me? And a random piece of bread just comes out of nowhere, and then me and everyone at our table just watched as this random piece of bread hits Turner in the side of the head, and like right after we all looked over in the direction it came from, we just see the back of Arnold's head and the back of his friend's head, but the people's faces we could see were grinning and giggling, you feel what I'm saying? So like I already knew it was them, and cause like who else would do it? So one of the kids at my table, not even 20 seconds after we all looked away from them, broke off a tiny piece of bread from his slider, turned around and threw it, and then we all watched as it flew through the air in slow motion. You all get ready to see it smack Arnold in the back of the head, but this kid's aim was horrible because it flew straight over Arnold's table and hit some NPC in the back of the head at the table next to Arnold. So the second we all noticed that he missed the target, it was like act natural. We all started eating and looking around the room and like pretending like we had no clue what was going on. We all started having like the most interesting conversation known to man. We were all looking mad sophisticated in our conversation, you feel me? And then I glanced back up at Arnold's table and the table next to them with the kid our friend hit with the bread, and I see one of them grab a piece of food, ball it up, and get ready to throw it. And I was like, oh, they're probably gonna throw it back at us because they know we did it. But then Brody throws it at another table, hitting some other kid, and I was watching this like, bro, what have we started? So after a couple of minutes, everyone started throwing back and forth tiny bread pieces at each other, table to table, just flying across the lunchroom. Everyone was doing it in the most obvious way, like they would chuck it, turn around, act like nothing happened, you feel me? But like most of us knew whose tables it was coming from, who tables it wasn't coming from, you feel what I'm saying? So then my boy Turner grabs his cup of apple juice, and I was like, nah, he not finna throw a cup of juice in here, because then a war is starting for sure. Then I watch as the cup of apple juice flies over me and one of my friends, and I whip my head back and watch as the juice flies everywhere, spraying on multiple people at multiple different tables, and I was just appalled, bro, baffled. I was looking back at everyone that got covered like I had no clue who did it. I was like, oh my god, what happened, bro, what? And then all I hear is, oh hell nah, and I see a whole plate fly across the lunchroom, food flying everywhere, just smacks this poor child in the back of the head, and bro got covered in mushy french fries and pieces of burger and bread chunks. And at this point, it was a full-blown food fight. Random pieces of mystery food are flying around, kids are laughing and screaming, and then Turner and Malachi look at me, and we all make eye contact, and like telepathically all knew like this is our chance to get back, you feel me? So all three of us stood up, fistful of mushed up french fries, and aimed in at Arnold and counted down all at the same time, threw french fries at him, and they were so mushy when we threw them it sprayed out like a shotgun blast, just flying everywhere. everywhere. So not only do we hit Arnold, but we hit everyone at his table, the table next to him, and the wall behind them. So Arnold turns around and glares at us. We're just chilling, glaring back at him, you feel me? Acting like we didn't just firing squad him with room temp french fries. The next thing you know, before the inevitable confrontation happened between us, 3 random kids come flying into the middle of the lunchroom, tripping and falling over chairs, over tables, onto the ground. And it looked like they were fighting, so everyone then started getting up and crowding around them. And like there was still a food fight in the process. Like food was being thrown, drinks were being splashed, like literal chaos. And on the other side of the crowd, I see Arnold grab a kid and push him out the way. And he looked pissed. Bro was covered in some liquid and chunks of food, and it low-key looked like throw up, you feel me? So while standing there behind this crowd, growing out of nowhere, I get pushed up against a wall, basically slamming into it. I don't even know who did it. There was literally a crowd forming in front of my eyes. Turner and Malachi were gone, nowhere to be found. Last time I saw them was a second ago after Arnold grabbed some random NPC. Then I got body checked out the way, pushed through the crowd so far, I got thrown into the back wall. So I slowly get back up, disoriented, to see Arnold, Turner, some random NPC in the middle of the circle, throwing food at each other that was being given to them by random kids on the sides of the crowds. Like they were being supplied food ammo to throw at each other. So now there's a full-blown crowd of children having a food fight. It sounded like we were rioting in there. The screaming, the yelling, the laughing, all combined in one sound of just children noises. And you would think something like this wouldn't last long, because when you walked into my daycare to like sign in and drop your kids off, behind the front desk was like 4 TV monitors that showed video camera footage of all the rooms, you feel me? And like it switched in between them, and all I imagined was someone looking at it going from an empty room to a lunchroom riot of children, like a burger hitting the camera. So mid food fight riot, I slightly hear a door open over the yelling and screaming, but I didn't really think much of it. And then louder than the crowd, I hear a hey, and then everyone stops what they're doing all at the same time. Like it went completely silent, and everyone looked over to the entrance by the front office, and there was 3 teachers standing there staring back at us. So after a 15-minute talk, we ended up cleaning for a while, and then usually after lunch we would have this like 10-minute intermission period where we do whatever we want. Then we would have outside time. So during this intermission, we all lined up against the back wall of the room and had to sit in silence. And then again, when outside came, we had to go line up and sit there for like 20 minutes in silence, staring at each other. And while sitting there in silence, I just thought how we just had a literal daycare food fight. And I know the teachers were actually done with us, because for the rest of that day and the following day, it was just silence and sitting.
Now there's so many annoying things that go on and happen at school. I'm just get right into it and talk about one of the things I hate the most. Slow walkers. Like when I get to school early in the morning and I'm sleepy and tired and low-key rushing to get to class, and I walk into some hallway traffic to get someone in front of me walking super slow. And most of the time, yes, when someone is walking in front of me slow, I just walk around them. But in these certain situations when there's mad hallway traffic, I can't just get around one bot walking slow as hell. I would have to like maneuver around other people and do all this extra stuff just to get in front of them, and I usually don't feel like doing all that extra stuff, so then I'm just forced to also walk slow as hell because the person in front of me is walking slow as hell. So then the person behind me is walking slow, and then the person behind him, and so on. That's how like hallway traffic forms, you feel me? Now in other situations when the hallway isn't packed, I can just walk around people that are being slow, the little NPCs that be forming walls in the hallway. I can just easily walk around these humans, right? But it still be like annoying as hell. And like, yeah, I've walked slow before in the hallway, and not like in the main hallway where I would host somebody else by walking slow. There's different types of slow walkers too. Like the people that be like on them phones, obviously texting somebody or looking at something, so they're obviously gonna walk slower. Like I do that personally. Like when I'm on my phone and I'm walking, I walk slower, and that's fine. And then there's other people who just walk slow for just to walk slow, like for no given reason, like no phone out, no nothing. They're just staring forward and walking slowly for no reason. I mean, 1 step per minute. I'm talking 1, 2. It's like, what are you doing? Move out the way. Like it genuinely amazes me sometimes at how slow people can walk. Like I don't understand how you can't put one foot over the other slightly faster. And it's also like sometimes I'll be getting to school late and I'm like rushing to get to class, so I'm trying to walk faster, and I know that my class is a certain distance away from where I am, right? Say I have like a 6-minute walk to get to class and I have 5 minutes left. I'm obviously gonna walk faster, and the people in front of me, they'll just be chilling. Not like we don't have to be to class in 5 minutes. Like, why are you walking so slow, gang? Like it just doesn't make sense. Just know if you try to walk slow in front of me on purpose, I'ma heat up. Now, bad hygiene. People, please, bro. I'm talking to you stinky ass people. If you smell and you know you smell and then go to school knowingly smelling and walking around smelling bad, you're nasty, gang. Like this is definitely one of the most annoying things I have to deal with at school. Like those select few kids who just somehow, I don't know how, but somehow manage to smell like booty hole every day. It's honestly impressive. Like I know some less fortunate kids probably don't have like showers or water and all the supplies to like properly clean themselves, and that's different. But me personally, if I I didn't have those privileges, I would find a way to take showers and clean myself. I don't care what nobody is saying, bro. I mean, I will literally break into somebody's house and use all that stuff to clean myself at like 3 a.m. and then sneak out back out their house like nothing happened and just do all that just so I don't smell bad, bro. Like, hygiene is so important to me, so if I smell bad, I will crash out. I will make sure by any means necessary that I smell good before I go to school at any and all costs. And another thing that is so annoying, I'm about to call somebody out, but in one of my classes, this dude that sits next to me, bro, this dude's breath smells so bad, guys. I mean, like, straight ass. It wasn't even always like this. Like, I've sat next to this dude for months on months. I guess just now he forgot to how like brush his teeth or something. I don't know, must have had short-term memory loss, because literally now every time he talks in my direction, I get a sweet whiff of straight booty hole. And I usually have gum, and I've been fighting the urge, like, I mean fighting over the last week not to turn around and offer this man a piece of gum in the nicest way possible and be like, yo bro, you want gum? And not like, bro, take this gum, your breath stinks. And it's just literally so much worse because he be yapping. Now I know we all have classes where we have like people who literally just talk and talk and talk and talk, which is fine, you know. Like, I'm not saying don't talk to your friends, but sometimes I literally want to pull my ears off my head, because in this certain class I'm in, I sit at a table of yappers. I mean, they just talk, and one of them is the dude I was talking about earlier who breath smells hella bad. So I have to deal with the consistent yapping and the bad smell of this dude's breath. And gang is one of those kids who also just, wait, hold on, I sound like I'm starting to diss him. My fault, gang. You just talk too much and you need gum, that's all. Anyway, he's also just one of those kids who be like saying the most random NPC dialogue statements that no one in this class wanted to hear nor needs to hear or cares. Like, he a broken NPC, and it's finally getting to me. Like, today in class, I was trying not to do my work, both AirPods in, by the way, trying to keep all the yap out of my ears, and it just wasn't working. Like, I could still hear them. 45 minutes of this, by the way. Like, it's actually crazy, and it's hella annoying. Like, yes, I would probably talk a lot in class if my friends were in there, but not the whole goddamn class period, bro. Like, do your work or something, please. You really don't have to talk the entire time. In those few moments where they're not yapping, bro, and I have peace, I cherish those moments. I mean, I breathe in and out while I hear nothing, and then they start talking again, bro. And I think I'm low-key starting to like lose it or something, bro. Like, I mean, I'll be in any class, you know, some dude will say some NPC statement that no one needed to hear, of course, and I just look over like this. Like, I genuinely think all these years of school and high school have finally caught up to me, and I'm starting to like break down. Like, these little annoying things that used to not bother me are bothering me so much. And then, like, I remember this one time in another class, this girl who, yeah, she's a yapper, and I already knew because I had her in a class last year, and she would be talking people's heads off, and it was English class too, so trust me, she talks a lot, right? And usually in this class, she would either be talking to her teacher, talking his head off, or talking to her friends. And I remember we were doing like our warm-up for class, and you know, class just started, so not that many people are talking or whatever, and then our teacher's classroom phone started ringing, and she goes, "Your phone's ringing." And I was just like, bruh, because I refused to believe she did that unironically, or like she was trying to make a joke or something. I don't know. It was an NPC reaction. Like, no way. His phone might be ringing, like, as it rings out loud to everyone in the class. Like, OMG, I get it. Ha ha ha. Funny joke. Shut up, bro. Now we gonna jump back a couple of years. Very couple, because I'm unk now, not gonna lie. But back in middle school, when I would be taking notes in class, and the teacher would have it on the board, right? Under her little projector thing. She'd be writing everything down on the board, chilling. And then she'll look around the class and be like, is everybody done? And a couple people might say no or whatever. I usually never didn't say anything, so I feel like I can finish first. And then before I can even finish, I look up and she's wiping, erasing all of it off the board. I'm just like, no, what are you doing? And the next thing you know, she's moving on. I'm looking down at my half finished notes, and I'm like, damn. And this exact same thing probably happened like 77 times in middle school, because I think I got like social anxiety. I don't even like talking to my teachers, so I genuinely felt like it was an inconvenience to me to be like, excuse me, can you not erase that? I'm still writing it down. So I just like look up and blankly stare when the teachers would be like, is everybody done? Looking like this. Now, one last thing that's very, very annoying to me. People who be fidgeting or tapping on their desk really fast, or tapping their foot really fast. Now, I get like a lot of people have like a nervous little twitch, or they just be doing it when they bored, or like they be in autopilot mode and mindlessly doing this, which is fine, because I've probably done it too without even knowing. But I don't know. Some moments I'll be just chilling, locked in, and then get completely just out of that like flow state I've been on my work, because I just hear in the background someone going. And it's just like, bro, please. And especially when, like, one time this dude in front of me was like tapping or something. I heard like this metal clanking noise, and this dude was tapping his foot, but his foot was arched up against the back of my seat, so it was just clanking against my seat, making my whole desk slightly shake and going clink, dun, dun, dun. I was like, bro.
So I went to the summer camp in the summer of 2017 and 2018. I've made some videos already talking about my time there at the summer camp, but it was my first year at this camp, right? And during our station time, which is when we would go to all these stations and areas over the camp with our cabin group, and during our second station I had to use the bathroom, and the closest bathroom to me and the easiest one to use was the one that was in the cafeteria / meeting building. It was this giant red building, kind of like a barn, but I told my cabin counselor that I had to use the bathroom, so I left our station and walked for a little bit across the camp to the cafeteria building. And I walked into the building from the side entrance right next to the bathroom, and I went to the bathroom and started doing my business and whatnot. And like on the wall to my left in there was like one of them weird bathroom windows that you can't see out of on either side. I don't know what they're called, but they have one of those, and I saw like some shadows moving past it, and then I hear the side door open and some footsteps up to the door. They hear someone try to open it. Now you think this is the part where I go, I'm in here, but nah, I just kind of stood there looking back at the door. Then I finished my business, flushed the toilet, and went to go wash my hands and everything, and I dried my hands off, and I was like, all right, let me leave. And I walked up to the door, unlocked it, and opened it. Now I had assumed the people that walked by was just someone trying to use the restroom, and they would go use a different restroom, or they just kept moving on and walking. I assumed they were gone, especially when I opened the door, walked down to the little hallway, and didn't see nobody. But now in this little hallway, it was like one of those airlock type thingies, like the hallway, then doors, and then a small little area, and then more doors that led back to the outside, and it's like this on both sides. Now I looked to my left at the one that entered the cafeteria, and I just see these two kids up against the wall in the corner making out, and I was 13, so I was just like, holy shit, they're kissing. And I'm just sitting there like and gasping at them, and while they're still going at it, tongue and mouth and everything, pause. And I was just okay, so I ran out of there back to my cabin group and told everyone everything. Like I was yapping, bro, in massive detail, telling them everything that happened. They're all like asking me to describe what they looked like and everything, because apparently it was like the biggest deal back then, because this dude, the dude that was kissing that girl, had a girlfriend back home, and he was at camp over here making out with girls at camp. Like that is nasty work. And then later during dinner time, when we came back to the cafeteria, it was like the drama had spread, and literally everybody's cabins was talking about it. It's like, yo, so and so was making out with so and so, and everyone was asking who saw it, who yada woo whoop. I didn't say anything, of course, because I wasn't trying to catch a fade from nobody for exposing this dude on accident. I was just telling people what I saw. So I was at this station that involved kayaking, and I was partnered up with this kid who was named Kev. Now Kev was kind of a dumbass. I mean, like earlier in the day, he jumped down the rock climbing wall almost on top of another kid, while 3 other instructors told him not to and wait. But he was just one of those kids who like to mess around and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Took nothing seriously, had a goofy demeanor and whatnot. And there's nothing wrong with that, but in this case, it was a problem. So we got into our life vests and everything got on, and everyone started heading out to the lake on their kayaks and everything. Now this lake was huge. I mean, like so huge, it had 3 different stations. It had the blob, this little inflatable structure station, and like the kayaking area. And also the lake had like a tiny island in the middle with this creepy ass tree. I mean, like that shit was all like dead and like evil looking. Anyway, me and Kev got into our kayak and got pushed into the water by our counselor, and we slid it off. Now I'm not gonna lie, I was scared as fuck. Not because I'm black and I can't swim or anything. It's because the station had multiple kids who had already done it and told us about it, and said that the lake was cursed and haunted and whatnot, and that people were getting flipped out of their kayaks every now and then randomly, or due to other uncertain causes or whatever. And I just don't want to get flipped next and sit into the green ass Texas lake water. So I was kind of scared of that happening. So while slowly paddling with Kev started yelling at these kids nearby and was trying to splash water on them. And we were like this far apart, by the way, but I was like, yo Kev, chill, because our kayak was wobbling because of him leaning on his side, because this dude was dead leaning off the side of the kayak to splash water at people nowhere near us, and he was just laughing and yelling, having a time in his life. And I was sitting there starting to sweat a little bit because our shit was dead leaning halfway into the water at this point. And I was like, all right, since Kev ain't gonna listen to me, I'm gonna have to save us. So I took it upon myself to try to save us from flipping into the lake. So I tried to put my hand under the side that was a little bit underwater, and for some reason I thought I could single-handedly literally flip us back up, which I don't know why I thought that would work, but I was just trying anything not to flip into the water. But I started feeling our fate, because right after I leaned over and bottlenecked our entire kayak on one side, which was already leaning over because of Kev, we flipped straight into the water and sent me and Kev under. And for some reason, the second I hit the water, I opened my eyes and saw nothing but green and brown. And me and Kev popped back up above the water, looking around for our kayak, which was slowly floating away from us. So I was like, shit. So I grabbed my paddle and tried to pull it back towards us while using the paddle. And Kev was over there laughing his ass off, like he thought this was all hilarious. I was just focused on getting out of the water. And then 2 of my cabin mates, Jade and Aiden, paddled over to us to see what happened. happened. And while attempting to use my paddle to flip back over our kayak, Jaden was asking me what happened and everything, and I was just getting madder and madder. I was mad as hell because I couldn't get back on the kayak because I couldn't flip back over with a damn paddle. And Kev's ass didn't seem to care if we got back out of the water or not. So then my boy, the goat, Jaden, climbed out of his kayak, got into the water to help me reflip the kayak, and while we floated there, we're trying to figure out how to salvage this situation. Out of literally nowhere, Kev screamed at the top of his lungs like a little girl. We both turned to look at him, and Kev was panicking, looking around at the water, and me and Jaden were like, what happened? And he said something just swam past his leg. And bro, we all made the same face of terror at the same time. And I even looked at Aiden, who was safe in his kayak, and he looked scared too. So me, Kev, and Jaden quickly got on one side of our kayak and unlocked like 120% of our potential to flip the kayak back over on its side. And while struggling to do so for a minute, we ended up flipping it back over, climbing back in, wet as hell, smelled like lake water, but at least we weren't in the lake no more. And then even after all that, Kev was still on some BS because not even 5 minutes after paddling around, he started trying to splash more people by leaning out of the kayak, and I was just looking like this. So during the summer when I was younger, I would do summer camp at my daycare, and some of you guys have seen my other videos involving summer camp at my daycare, but usually I had like a set schedule or routine, I could say, of how my days went. I would get to my daycare and walk through the little cafeteria area and then through the back doors into my little age groups area at the play area, which is split into 2 more age groups, like kids who were like 5 to 8, and then on my side we had kids who were like 8 to 12, which is like the age limit for this place. So I would show up in the morning and usually go wait for people I knew to show up, just sitting at this table next to the gaming center that had a GameCube and a bunch of other stuff that we couldn't play on during the mornings, which sucked because that was literally the only reason I came to daycare in the first place. But while waiting, kids slowly started to show up one by one. Nobody I knew yet, so I was just chilling by myself, and eventually these group of kids showed up. Now at the time I was a little kid, so like when it came to kids older than me, they were like big kids or whatever to me, but this group of big kids showed up and I knew them as the DS kids because at my daycare they low-key had like gangs going on, not no friendly friend groups who all had their thing. We had the DS kids who was mostly comprised of older kids, Marco, Alvin, and David. Now these dudes were all like 12, which was the age limit at this daycare, so they were all pushing unk status to my young ass self at the time. But the final member of the DS kids was this girl who was basically like their leader and led their group, and we'll name her Ella. Now they all usually were located in the area that I was literally sitting in. I was just casually patiently waiting in their territory. So when I saw Marco and Alvin walk into the room and they both looked in my direction like, why the hell is that little kid sitting in our spots, and started walking over in my direction with these like mean ass looks on their faces, I was like, shit. And see, usually I would be sitting in my gang's area behind this little area with the GameCube and everything, but we weren't even allowed to be back there until after lunch, and my gang members, who you may know, Turner and Malachi, haven't even showed up to daycare yet. Plus I hadn't seen these dudes at the time in almost a year because they were like my daycare friends that I only saw at summer camp at daycare because we all went to different schools. So I just stood up and moved next to a bookshelf and sat down there instead. And then when Alvin and Marco got to the table, they pulled out their DSs and got straight to work starting up their game. Now they would always play Mario Kart DS, and now in the years past I would be waiting my turn to play Smash on the GameCube, and I would peek over the little divider and watch them play Mario Kart on their DSs, and I would be like, only if they knew I had a DS too, well, mom just wouldn't let me bring it to daycare. And I would sit there dreaming of like playing with the older kids and being cool or whatever, but I was just sitting there until David and Ella eventually showed up. Now the whole squad was there all playing together while I was still alone sitting in the corner waiting for my friends. And eventually I started moving closer and closer towards the DS kids, just inching myself into view because I wanted to watch them play. And eventually other kids had the same idea and dead started stopping what they're doing. Either it was playing with toys or doing something else. They slowly started to move over and rotate towards the DS kids and literally started standing behind them watching. I was like, this is my chance because I had been waiting to watch. I was just scared to be the first one to do it. So I joined the other kids in this crowd watching them play Mario Kart. And then I saw that they were playing Balloon Battle, which you don't know what that game mode is on Mario Kart. It's basically where the goal is to get the other players out by popping their 4 balloons that they're given at the start by hitting them with items. And so they were all playing against each other and some AIs, and it was getting intense. Like kids were rooting for who they wanted to win and everything, and I was in the background like. And after David and Marco got out and it was just Ella and Alvin left, Ella ended up hitting like Alvin with this crazy bomb snipe, and everyone was like, yo, Jay, and was freaking out and shit. And I was just back there watching like, bro, I could do that. And just as I was imagining playing
playing Mario Kart DS with the older kids and being cool as hell, Turner showed up and he looked a little different. His long hair was gone and bro was now taller than me by a good little percentage, and I was like, damn. And then when he asked what was happening after he walked up to me, I explained everything to him, and then me and him ended up going to play foosball. And then a little later Malachi showed up too, looking different. His messy ass freeforms he had were gone. He was rocking like this low cut with like a fresh ass taper, and meanwhile I was slightly taller and my hair was shorter because I had gotten a haircut recently. But none of that mattered because the gang was reassembled after a full school year apart. And after catching up with each other and explaining our whole school years and all the fun events that happened during the school year, we had our snack, our lunch, and then our outside time, and then we had free time again, which meant access to the GameCube. So me and the boys rushed inside and hopped on Mario Kart Double Dash. Started up some twos with the teams being me and Malachi versus Turner and this one kid. Now in the gaming center in the other corner, there's like this old ass broken Wii, which is saying something because we all were playing on a console that was years older than us and the Wii. But in that other corner, the broken Wii and TV had became used as a spot to just chill. And today for some reason the DS gang was chilling there watching us play Mario Kart because it was like their main game or whatever, and they played it on DS all the time. But I noticed them in the corner of my eye a couple times just chilling there watching us. And then I also noticed someone in the other corner of my eye. It was Arnold, and he also looked different, same height but new haircut, and his aura from before seemed like less negative, I guess. I ended up looking over there while we were changing our carts, and he was laughing and playing with his friends and everything, and I was like, what the hell? Because last summer gang never looked remotely this happy at daycare, besides when he was throwing food at us. But while looking at Arnold, I heard David say, who wants to do a Mario Kart tournament? And hearing the words tournament was all I needed to hear, because all of us broke our necks to turn around and look at the DS gang. And some of the other kids who were nearby just came over too, and now David had the attention of everyone in the gaming center and more. And then he explained that he wanted to host a tournament of sorts. Since there was only 4 DSs that they had in their hands or whatever, they would have to cut up the larger teams into duos, and each duo would go head to head in a game of balloon battle. And after a long confusing team creating process, we had our team, me, Turner, and Malachi, of course. And basically we came to the conclusion that I was the best out of us 3, of course, you know what I'm saying, I'm just really him for real in Mario Kart. So I had a permanent spot on the team while they would switch out every round if we made it that far. And there was like 7 other teams, which included Ella and Marco, who were said to be the actual best, and then David and Alvin, who were also said to be the actual best, and then other teams of kids I didn't know, and then us. So we went into our first round against the team of kids we didn't know, and it was me and Turner for the first game. Didn't last long though because they were big booty. Like, it was like playing computers, and I'm pretty sure one of them was like 6 years old, but it was the first of 2 games, and we ended up winning both of them with ease. We had fun and, you know, moved up to round 2, which of course was against David and Alvin, who casually sweep their round 1s, and I was low-key nervous. Like, they were big kids and I had to watch them play enough to know they didn't mess around. So after a tragic game 1, I mean, we got packed up bad. Malachi, who is now playing, was down to his last balloon after like 2 minutes, and I had 3 while Alvin had 3 and David had 4. And after I got Alvin and David down to 2 and 3, I had 2 myself, and Malachi was now over my shoulder rooting for me. And in the back of my head, I knew we had to win this game, and if we did, we would make it to finals. And I knew if we somehow got to finals and won the prize of the hearts and minds of the older kids and all throughout the daycare, it would be amazing. And then I got hit with red shell, and that put me down to 1 balloon. And the second I lost my invincibility frames, David mushroom boosted into me and took my last balloon, and now we had lost game 1. Now I know what you're thinking, we're gonna come back and win the next game and make it a game 3 and barely win. Nah, we got stomped on. But this time it was me and Turner. Afterwards we watched the DS gang go on to verse each other in a fun little finals match that was just play time for them. But even though we got shit on, I had fun.
Arnold was on the rink and still in the game. He just didn't stay in our group for the first 2 rounds and like was waiting for his moment to strike or something, because then now, if you're new here or just haven't seen the first part for some reason, I'm gonna need you, and yes, you looking back at this video, looking at me right now, I'm gonna need you to go watch the first part right now, and then come back to this video, you feel me, to understand anything that's gonna happen in the video. So then, while me, Turner, and 2 of our friends who were still in this small little group we had during the game were moving in what we thought was a completely unbreakable unit, you feel what I'm saying? The main villain, Arnold, this D1 op, especially for those of you who have seen any of these videos, and he wasn't even my main op, he was Turner's. Anyway, Arnold skated up behind behind us at like full speed and rammed into all of us, and I dead got sent flying after someone fell onto me, and I flew forward towards the wall doing the little arm thing you do when you lose balance, and I caught myself just in time on the wall. I probably almost died. So then I quickly turned around to see Arnold rolling by Turner and one of our friends who were on the ground, and bro was grinning like a crazy person. So I quickly put together that he was the one who rammed into us, and while I was making my way back over to them, I didn't realize something. They were both in a red zone, which meant if the music stopped at any moment, they were out of this game. This will in turn leave your boy by himself against the big kids and Arnold, and before Turner, our friend, could even get up, the music stopped, and I was just outside of the red zone when the music stopped, so I was fine. But now they were both out, so Turner, our friend, got up and rolled off the court, and Turner obviously didn't look too happy because it was basically, well, not even basically, it was Arnold's fault. And I soon came to know this man could hold a grudge, so he was obviously the one that did that to get revenge for Turner laughing at him or something. And I was now very alone in the rink, and our fourth guy who was also with us, he got out apparently, but I didn't even see him get out. But I did see him catching up to other guys running off the court as well. So now my main mission was looking for Arnold. Now no, I wasn't like planning to get him back or something, you feel me? I was just scared he was gonna accidentally slam into me at the right moment to get me out or something. So then the music started playing again, and I was moving cautiously, you know, like checking behind me and everything. And then I spotted Arnold, and he was rolling up to Adrian and his group. They were all like skating together, and he was talking to them about who knows what, but he ended up staying next to him the whole rest of that round. And when that round did end, it was down to me, Arnold, Adrian, and 4 of his Daycare kids, and they were all sticking close together while I was staying on the edge of the court rolling safely. At the end of this round, the announcer dude got on the thingy and said, "Okay everybody, since there isn't many people left in the game, I'm going to be shrinking the circle that you can go around, and there will be 2 small safe zones you can fit into now, so have fun." And the next thing you know, the music started blasting, and I watched the lights out there where we had to be, throwing my whole plan out the window. I couldn't just camp on the edge of the court anymore. This is the only safety I had compared to their safety in numbers. Like, I had to be in this small little circle with a team of 6 basically. So we all started rolling around the circle, and I was dead staring at them as we circled each other. I was moving at like a pace just fast enough to stay out of reach of them. Then I see little bro Arnold like get closer to Adrian and like say something to him, and Adrian like nodded, and I was thinking now like, what the hell is this dude about to do? Like, for all I knew, he was probably coming to slash my kneecaps or something. And then I noticed Arnold sped up and leave the little group and was speeding up trying to catch up to me. Now I had a decision to make quickly. Either I speed up to stay out of his reach and possibly lose my balance in the process and go flying out of bounds and lose, or keep my pace I'm comfortable with and see what Arnold gonna try to do. And bro, I was already having flashbacks to not even 5 minutes earlier where he slammed into us and sent my entire team into the shadow realm. So I picked option 2 and stayed my pace while looking at him get closer and closer to me. Like, yeah, I know I'm a warrior, I was gonna have to stick it out. And then right before Arnold got close enough to me to do anything, the music paused, freaking me out. So I quickly looked around to see if I was safe, and then heard over the speaker, "Can Arnold Thomason come over to the booth area up here real quick?" And then I looked over there to where the announcer dude was, and I saw little bro Turner and one of our teachers next to the announcer dude all looking over at us. And then I looked at Arnold, and bro looked stunned and nervous, which I would be too. Bro just got called out in front of the whole skating rink. I don't think anyone there cared enough to see what was going on besides like me and my Daycare, but still though. So Arnold started rolling towards them, and me and Adrian's gang were just standing there. And for me at least, when I say standing, I mean like standing still with skates is impossible, so I was just slowly moving forward. Anyway, the announcer guy hopped back on the thing and said, "Continue your game, kids." And then music abruptly came back on. I was just staring over at the booth as I watched Arnold finally make it over there as our teacher talked to him. And I was like, okay. Turner told the teacher what happened, like how he slammed into us and everything. Now our teacher is giving him a talking to or something, I don't know. And while I was distracted watching interaction, I saw the guy look around over at us and then at his little soundboard thingy and click a button. And my child brain didn't put 4 and 6 together to realize he was pausing the music. And guess who was and wasn't in a red zone? So I roll off the court and get to the first table I see and sit down and take off my skates because I was done with skating for now. I wanted to go to the arcade and get a pizza, if I'm being honest. So I started walking back to our table and then saw that there were pizza boxes and most of our kids from our daycare were chilling and eating and everything. So I walked up, grabbed a plate and acquired my food, and then sat down next to my friend who got out with Turner so he could give me the facts of what happened, you feel what I'm saying, after they got out. And he explained that Turner didn't say nothing the whole walk over and looked pretty pissed, as he should have been. And then he went straight up to one of our teachers and told her what Arnold did and how it got them out of the game, and now they're all having a talk with the announcer about who knows what. But I didn't really care too much anymore because there's 2 slices of pizza calling my name, you feel me? So I started eating and drinking soda, and then a little later I saw Turner and Arnold and one of our teachers walking back towards our table. And before they got up to it, she turned to both of them and said something, and then she walked away, and then they both looked at each other with their mean faces on and everything, and then walked over to us. And then Turner got his food and sat down. I looked at him and said, "Bro, what happened?" And then he explained what I already inferred. He told on Arnold and basically basically when they were talking to the announcer guy, Arnold pleaded his case by saying it was an accident and he slipped accidentally ran to us. And they believed him because we were kids and it seems pretty reasonable, especially since plenty of kids have slipped and slammed into other people on the skating rink on accident. So Arnold got away with it basically, and Turner was not at all happy about this. It ruined his chances in the game and everything. So then like 10 minutes go by or so, and me, Turner, and one of our friends were now in the arcade area, and we saw Adrian and a bunch of his buddies playing this little basketball game, and we also saw that it had things from the prize corner, like this little slinky, this bouncy ball, and this container of some like slime looking stuff. I don't know. And Turner and our friend also noticed, and they started like walking over to him, and I was confused. I was like, whoa, guys, what are you doing, bro? Like, they big kids or whatever, so I was scared they were gonna press us again. But Turner and our friend just told me to watch, and while Adrian and his friends were distracted playing their game, Turner and little bro walked up slowly and dead took all their prizes that were just sitting there in the open for the taking apparently. And then they both walked over to me quickly and said, let's go. And it was perfect timing too, because I guess one of our teachers came into the arcade area and gathered anyone from our daycare who was in there. So then me, Turner, and gang member walked out of there to doing a little robbery and acted like nothing happened. So then a little later we were on the bus chilling. Me and Turner was sitting together, and about halfway through the bus ride, I don't know, I was asleep. Turner wakes me up and points over to the sleeping Arnold in the seat in front of the seat next to us that our bro was sitting in. And I was like, okay. And then Turner said, watch this, and he pulled out the stolen goods and showed me the container of slime like stuff, and then he grinned at me. And I already knew where this was going. Turner was gonna get his get back since Arnold didn't get in trouble at the skating rink. So Turner was taking matters into his own hands, I guess. So he stood up just a little bit so the teachers couldn't see him in the rearview mirror, and he could reach Arnold, and he opened up the container of slime and poured it out all over Arnold's head. And for some reason, Arnold didn't even wake up. Bro didn't even move a muscle. He just stayed asleep. And then Turner quickly got back down into our seat grinning, and I peeked over the seat and looked at the damage. I just see Arnold and how it dead looked like a slime from Minecraft took a dump on little bro's head. So after about like 30-minute bus ride back to the daycare, me and gang all hurried off the bus because yes, the slime was still on Arnold's head, and the kid who was sitting next to him and woke him up didn't even tell him for some reason, because when we were walking back to the building, we all saw it on his head when he got off the bus, and we were all laughing. So there I was on the bus, the daycare bus, on my way to my first field trip of the summer, and there was like 30 of us on this bus with our daycare shirts and everything, and I was hyped, you feel me? Like, it was my first field trip of the summer. We were going to a skating ring, and at this point I hadn't gone to a skating ring in a minute, so I was reasonably excited. I was going with a bunch of my friends, and it was somewhat moderated by like 3 teachers, so I was like, yeah, freedom. And most of the ride over to the skating ring I was slumbering on some and then I was awoken to a hard stop of the bus and that noise it makes when the bus stops, and everyone was like cheering and yelling. Then we all got off the bus one by one, and the one teacher that drove us there drove off to go park, while the other one lined us up outside the building, and she was explaining like the rules to us and everything, like what we could and couldn't do. And it was pretty basic rules, like we couldn't separate from the group, props so we wouldn't get kidnapped, we couldn't use the bathroom without a buddy, props so we wouldn't get kidnapped. Most of these rules were just there to make sure the daycare wouldn't be liable if one of us got snatched during the field trip. So after she got done explaining the rules, we all headed inside, and we like checked in because we had like a reserved area, like a table, and like we were gonna have pizza and snacks and all that. So we checked in one by one and got our skates, and after that long process, because a good amount of us 7 to 10 year olds didn't know our shoe sizes, so you know, the whole finding your skates that fit took a minute. But once everyone was done, we all made our way over to the table, and I was walking and talking with Turner and a couple of other friends, and we saw another daycare. Like, there was a bunch of kids with matching red shirts, and our daycare shirts were yellow, so it was pretty obvious to be like, oh, that's a different daycare, you feel me? You know, like, seeing them, we didn't think much of it, you know, it's like another daycare, whatever. But some kids we were walking with were like dead glaring at them, like they had done something to us. And I saw one of the kids notice us, and like, they had to be like 12, 13. He was an older kid, because at the time I was a youngin'. So anyone over the age of 10 was like a big kid or whatever. So he started walking over to us, like a couple of his boys. They also looked like a little too old to be in daycare. And the main dude, who we'll call Adrian, walked up and Loki started pressing us. Like he was on some, you guys seem a little too young to be here, and kept making jokes about how old we looked or some. And then Arnold, and this was before I knew who he was, he walked up like in front of everyone and told Adrian that he was 10 with like pride and everything. I don't know why he told him that, but we all saw it as a victory, like we had a comeback for something. And then Adrian and all his friends just started laughing, like dead in bro's face, like pointing and everything, which kind of makes sense, because like if I was 12 and 13, the 10-year-old just said, I'm 10. I'm laughing in your face. So Arnold was just standing there, and then I hear one of them go, are you gonna cry, and like laughing, and Arnold slowly turned around with tears in his face, walked past us, and as he did that, most of us were like already holding back, fighting back the laughter, because like we were little kids, and like not gonna hold you, it was kind of funny. But Turner, he couldn't hold it in. He let out a tiny little snicker. He had to release a little giggle, you feel me? And like as soon as he he did that, Arnold like whipped his head back to stare right at Turner, like knowing he laughed with these bullies basically at him. And right here, I don't know, I never asked, bro. I think this is the moment that made a villain. This is Arnold's villain origin story. Like from this point on, for the whole summer, Arnold despised Turner and any and everyone he even talked to. But we didn't know this or think much of Turner letting out a little giggle. But the big kids laughing at us was a little whack. So after Arnold fled the scene, the older kids lost interest in laughing at us, I guess, and walked away towards the rink. And all started putting their skates on and stuff, which reminded me, we're at a skating rink, and most of our daycare was already out on the skating rink. So I was like, let's go skate, you feel? So we all sat down, put our skates on and everything, and then headed out into the court. A couple of kids were dead slipping and sliding everywhere. Like I haven't skated for a while at this point, so I was taking it slow. But there were kids literally zooming around, like trying to run while skating. A lot of them would just wipe out and sometimes take out other kids by falling onto the ground, and then the kids' reaction time wouldn't be fast enough to dodge them, so they would hit them and fall into the ground. It'd be like a domino effect. And I was just scared it was gonna happen to me because I watched it happen about 16 times, and there was 80 children on the rink. That wasn't including our 2 daycares. So eventually I got the hang of skating again. I started going around the circle, and I saw a couple of kids from my daycare racing some other kids from another daycare. It was just like 2 sets of yellow and red shirts flew past me, and then Turner and like 2 other kids rolled up to me, and then like Adrian and 2 of his friends followed close behind them. And as Turner went by me, he told me to run, and I was confused. I was like, what? And before I knew it, I was midair. Like I was leg swept by another red blur, and I was slammed onto the ground, and a lot of other red shirt daycare kids went by laughing and running the other kids from my daycare, and I was sitting on the ground understanding what was happening. These kids were taking us out one by one for some reason, like some skating derby disguised as kids having fun or something. So I get back up, start skating towards the edge of the rink, so I wanted to stay by the edge of the rink just in case someone tried to take me out again, you feel? So I was sitting there, I saw kids from both daycares falling, getting back up, slamming other people, just causing chaos. And there was loud like bass boosted 2013 Kids Bop music playing over this, so I was just trying to stay on my feet during all this random stuff happening. I was low-key thinking about fleeing the scene and going to the arcade or something. And then all of a sudden, some random guy like an announcer started talking on the speakers. He was like, alright everybody, we're about to start a game, so everyone on the court could skate over to the back wall and evenly spread out so everyone could fit and we can get started. And being that it was mostly children and preteens on the rink, everyone flew to the wall and lined up. After everyone got in place, the guy came back on the thing and announced we were playing a game called Knockout. I don't know what it was, so I was interested. Then he explained that there would be music playing while everyone skated around the rink in a circle, and when the music stopped, if you're in a red zone, which would be marked by this light, you were out. Pretty simple game, right? But this game definitely wouldn't cause like chaos between these rivaling daycares and like random civilian children. So the game started and me and my daycare like stuck together. Like all of us rolled in a pack, which I guess was part of the smartest thing we've ever done our entire lives at the time. But so did the other daycare with Adrian and his goons. So after like 2 rounds, the number of people left was pretty low, honestly. Like probably 10 people left on both daycares and like 15 random kids just there. At the start of round 3, the music like sped up and everyone started moving faster around the rink to attempt to not get caught in the red zone. But I was staying my pace with Turner and a few others. Everyone else in like free-falled it and like just went off on their own. But now this entire time, Arnold was on the rink and still in the game. He just didn't stay in our group for the first 2 rounds and like was waiting for his moment to strike or something, because then so thankfully I won't ever have the pleasure of riding this thing ever again. Like, the amount of brain cells I've lost while riding the school bus over my lifetime is probably dangerously high. Like, the amount doctors would want to study, you feel me? Like, the amount of times, especially last year, I pulled myself out of bed working with around 4 to 5 hours of sleep at best, walked halfway awake to the bus stop, stood there in whatever the Texas morning weather had prepared for me. Then I would stand at the bus stop in the rain, in the cold, in the normal hot humid weather, and standing in this would also just make me want to go back to sleep, you feel me? Like, there would be dead times where I actually would close my eyes while standing there waiting for the bus, and I would just fall asleep. And I would get a rude awakening of the feeling of my body as I almost fall over. And then finally the bus would arrive. Sometimes it would arrive on time, sometimes it would be 30 minutes late, who knows. But this one time I walked into the bus, sat in my seat, and I was ready to go to bed. Like, I was on autopilot mode the whole walk over to the bus stop that morning. I wasn't even awake, my body was just moving by itself. And now that my head was against the cold window and I was sitting down cozy, I slowly drifted asleep, and for like 4 minutes I had blissful, unbothered sleep until I was awoken by yelling, like arguing, and I didn't move. I just opened my eyes and listened, and a group of kids in the very back of the bus, like the last 4 rows of seats, were dead yelling and screaming at each other at 6 in the morning. And bro, this wasn't like a one-time thing. Like, most of the time when I got on that bus, a certain group of kids would make sure that I wouldn't be able to get any sleep whatsoever. Like, I even put in my noise canceling AirPods with no music playing, so it hopefully block out some of the noises and sounds that they're making from their arguing. Didn't help at all. It was like I slightly turned down the volume on their audio. I could still
still hear them. So I had another solution, which you guys are probably thinking about. I just put on music full blast, and it solved and caused the problem. Yes, I couldn't hear them anymore, couldn't hear none of the yelling and screaming, but now all I could hear was my music and just it blasting into my ears. And it was hard to fall asleep because all I listened to is straight heat, so over time I taught myself to fall asleep to my music even when it was blowing out my eardrums. And sometimes I wouldn't even force myself to do this. I would just be so sleepy and beyond like holding myself in this realm. Even with music blasting, I would just peacefully close my eyes and drift off. Now another thing I just didn't like about buses is sitting next to people. Like back in the day when I was a kid, I thought it was fun to sit 3 deep in a bus seat that fits like 2 people, my friends, you know? But like now I just dead can't do it. Like I want a man spread, I want to lay across my seat, I want to be backwards, you know what I'm saying? Like I need room for my backpack too, you know? My backpack's very important. I need to be right next to me, you feel what I'm saying? Like there's no room for nobody else. And now I'm not saying I'm one of those kids who would be like, hey man, can I sit here? No, get back. Like if someone asked to sit next to me, I would say sure, you feel me, but like I wouldn't enjoy it. Like there goes all my space. And like most of the time it was like only girls asking to sit next to me, bro. It's kind of weird, I don't know. And I remember one time my bus was running mad late, and then some random bus pulled up I've never seen before. We all walked up to it, and I get onto the bus to find that the bus was full of kids. Like bro, I mean 3 to a seat all the way to the back row. And I instantly knew what was going on here, because this wasn't the first time in my bus rider career that buses have merged, which is when 1 or 2 buses in this case, their bus drivers didn't show up or just didn't feel like coming to work today. So then a totally different bus will have to fill in for that bus driver and come pick up everyone else. And looking at how many people were in this bus, I assumed that this bus had picked up multiple neighborhoods worth of kids, like at least 20 stops. So I started walking down the aisle to see there was 3 to 4 people in every seat. I kept on walking and walking. I was getting near the edge of the bus. I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? There's not enough room. And then I got down to the very back of the bus, like the 2nd row, and I found a seat with 2 people, and I sat right on the edge. And my knees were like sticking out into the aisle, touching some girl sitting in the seat of 3 people right next to us. And I just stared forward like, bro, this was not a fun time. Like I already said, I hated sitting next to people, but now I was not only sitting in a seat of 3 people, my legs were touching some random girl sitting in a seat of 3 people, while we all sat in a bus full of 300 kids. And there ended up being like 3 more stops, and every time we stopped, everyone was like, damn, oh, because like this bus was way beyond maximum capacity, and everyone on this bus knew if any more people got on here, the bus would probably just collapse. Tires just pop and fold into each other, and the bus would just slam into the ground. But eventually we got to school like 20 minutes late, of course, and it did to like 10 solid minutes to get everyone off that bus, bro. Especially for me being in the far back, I had to sit there in my seat and wait for everyone to just file out like little ants. And you know, there were some goofy funny laughs on the bus sometimes. Like I remember one time I was just chilling on the bus, right? It was a normal usual morning. I was sleepy, and I started smelling just a little hint of weed. And this wasn't like a one-time thing too. Like I would dead from time to time randomly smell it coming from the back of the bus. And I just assumed that someone was hitting the Benjamin in the back of the bus getting faded at 6 in the morning. And another thing a lot of people do on the bus is eat. And I'm one of those people, but like I always remember I had a bus driver that would always be like, don't eat on the bus, kids. And then when some kid would sit down, open up his lunchbox, pull out a bag of Doritos and start munching, and the bus driver would dead just look up in the rearview mirror, watch the kid eat, and look back at the road with no reaction. Now I feel like in some cases it's different, because imagine like little bro started making finger paintings on the window and cheesed up. Now that bus driver had to get up and come beat this kid's ass. And there were times where kids straight up littered all over the bus. Like they would finish eating their food and just throw their empty bag on the ground or leave it in their seat, and would just leave a big mess, which made it make sense why bus drivers would be like, don't eat on the bus, because of these very reasons. But I feel like most of these rules should only apply to younger kids, because they're more likely to throw their shit on the ground. And there was something I especially hated about riding the bus. Like the time frame my random bus driver would choose to come pick up would always screw me over. Like there would be times where I was 10 minutes early to the bus stop, which sucked, and then there would be times I was running to the bus stop as the bus pulled up. And there's one certain time I was walking to the bus stop, and when I got around the corner I heard the bus coming, so I started speed walking. So I speed walked across the street to see the bus there and everyone getting on, the doors closed. And I was like, okay, I'm in bro's view now, he should be able to see me in the corner of his eyes and wait for me, right? So then I was left there, standing there in the dark at the bus stop, and I'm pretty sure everyone on the bus watched me walk up and get left there. And I was like so dumb, bro. Like it was too early for this, so I just walked back home. So I'm at a football game, right? And it's the same day where one of the stories in this video takes place. If you haven't seen this video, basically I got this girl's number, and we had like one convo while I was at this game. And after that I was kind of like, and then I was kind of like, So fast forward a little bit later during the game, I was informing one of my friends of the night's events and the information I had learned about this girl whose number number I got earlier that day. And while I was breaking it down to him, explaining everything in great detail, a wonderful yap session, a girl walked up to us and was like, my friend thinks you're cute and she wants you to follow her on Instagram. And I look over like, and I look at my bro and then back at her, and I was like, I wasn't low-key feeling it. I was like, in my head, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I said, yeah, that I could follow her friend on Insta. And then she tells me her friend's Insta, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll follow her later. And I started turning back to my friend because I thought this interaction was over with. I thought she was gonna be like, okay, I told him what was up from my friend, I'm gonna walk away. But she did not do that, because while I was turning, she went, follow her right now. And I was like, okay. And she was like, take your phone out and follow her right now. Now I'm like, well, I'm way too deep into this to like walk away from this side quest. So I'll pull my phone out, go to Instagram while this girl is basically looking over my shoulder at my phone, making sure that I follow her friend. And I find the Instagram, I follow her, I show her that I completed this quest. She was like, alright, bet, and walked away. And I just look at my friend and go back to explaining what I was explaining before. Whatever just happened. Because like I was low-key just existing, and the girl sent her friend on a side mission to come get me to follow her. So another time, I was leaving lunch, right? Walking out of the cafeteria with my friends, and I was walking, looking at something on my phone, and like midway through our journey, a girl walks up to me, and everyone else kept walking in the hallway. She goes, can I have your number? And I looked at her, and I was like processing in my brain, like, should I? And then I made up my mind. I was like, okay, I'm gonna say nah. And then I said, yeah, I know, bro, but like, I don't know, it's hard for me to like say no to people, especially if the person I want to say no to is literally right in front of me. So instead of saying nah, I'm chilling and walking away, I told her sure, which was a mistake. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So she was like, here, give me your phone. And I give it to her. She put her number in it, and then she told me her name, and I told her my name, and I walked away. And all my friends on the hallway were like saying, unspoken Riz, yeah. But little did I know, giving her my number gave me a one-way ticket to a group chat. You feel me? Like, trust me, I learned my lesson being nice, because like there is so much lore going on with this. Like, I'm not even gonna say it all, but like she was on me for like a whole nother week, and I just kept trying to like be nice and basically tell her I'm not trying to mess with her, and it was a whole thing anyway. So cut to like a month ago, I'm at lunch with 3 of my friends, and we were looking for a location to chill because this teacher cleared out our last sitting location. So basically we were just wandering around looking for a new location, and we ended up finding this little table in like the corner of this hallway, and we were chilling there. And then 2 of my friends who I'd be walking around with lunch sometimes pulled up with this girl, and for some context, this girl they were with was a girl that my homeboy was talking to like a week before, and they were talking and they got together and then they broke up or something. It was a whole thing, whole bunch of lore. But basically I was talking to all 3 of them at one point, and one of my friends was talking to us about how me, him, and our homeboy usually all be switching up our shoes, but today we all had the same black forces on. And then the girl said we all look goofy or something, and I was like, well, not me, I always put that shit on regardless. This is my fit, by the way, that day. And then she like looked me up and down and was like, yeah, you look fine. And then both of them were like, oh, she on you. And I'm like, nah, she didn't mean it like that, watch out. And then she was like, let me see, move your dreads out the way. And then I moved some of my dreads, and she was like, yeah, the other way too. And they lost it. I mean, like, they both started going, oh, and I'm just like, no, hell nah. Because number one, I had just started talking to someone, and I'm a little delulu, so for all extensive purposes, I was taken. Number two, she was literally on my homeboy body, like not even a week ago. So I'm like, no. And I look over to one of my friends like, help me, please. I do not want to be in this situation no more. And eventually, I had made up my mind on walking around with them, and we started heading down the main hallway together. And it was the girl on the far end, my friend next to her, and then my other friend next to me, and then me on the very other end. And we were all walking in this big group in the hallway, and I was dead on my phone chilling the whole time, just walking, just chilling pretty much. And the next thing you know, I looked up and we're on the other side of the school, and I see them boys speed walk away off to go say hi to one of their friends. I just looked back down my phone and then looked back up at a little further of walking down, and then now it was just me and this girl, and she was walking a little further in front of me, and I was like on purpose walking slower and on my phone so she would hopefully forget I was with them in the first place. But nope, she turned around and was like, your little friends left you. And I was like acting dumb like, oh yeah they did. And then she slowed down to match my pace, so now we're walking together, and I was on my phone scrolling through my goddamn weather app and my notes, making myself look busy so she wouldn't try to talk to me, right? And that plan didn't work whatsoever, because when we rounded the next corner in this hallway, she was like, where did they go? And I was like, I don't know, we're probably gonna have to do another lap to go find them, because the hallway we're in was a giant circle. So I was guessing they were a little ahead of us, and if we kept walking, we would meet them eventually, right? So after turning this corner, I didn't see her to my right anymore in my peripheral vision. I was like, and then I felt something pulling my backpack. I was like, what the hell? So I turned around and she was right there, and she was like, I like your backpack. And I got this little Shadow the Hedgehog kid backpack, and after she complimented my backpack, I was like, yeah, appreciate that. And she said, yeah, I like me a cultured guy. And I was like, okay, she's flirting with me. I gotta escape the situation ASAP, no Rocky. Like, only options I saw here was to be like, yo, what's that? Point in the other direction and flee. Like, what else was I supposed to do? I didn't want to be mean and be like, please don't talk to me. I know all your lore. My homeboy has told me about it in our car rides. I know everything. Get away from me. Like, I didn't know what to do in this situation. conversation. But then like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, why don't I just bring up my homeboy who she was talking to last week? And then an opportunity came, I guess you can say, because she started talking about the reason she was walking around with us in the first place. She was saying she was laying low to be around less known people. I'm thinking in my head like, yeah, I know exactly why you're trying to lay low, gang. Like, I know everything. See, she didn't know I knew everything. I had the method. I knew the plan. So I was like, yeah, I'm thinking I know exactly why you're trying to lay low. And she looked at me and I said, it might have to do with somebody I know named. And then I said my homeboy's name. And she dead stopped walking and paused in place. Like in the middle of the hallway while we're walking, she just stopped walking entirely to like, I don't know, take in and process that like, I'm not a nobody and I know everything, you feel me? And because of her reaction stopping, botting out in the middle of the hallway, I started laughing. Like I just started laughing. And then she said, I just lost all my respect for you. And I'm just like, mission complete. Hey, we did it. And then after we rounded another corner with no sign of my friends in sight, she said, I'm gonna go sit down. I'm tired of walking. And then she turned around and walked away. And I was like, freedom. I'm free. I escaped the situation. I did everything perfectly. And then also I was like, where did they go? Because now I'm thinking they peeped she was trying to mess with me and said, let's dip and give these two some alone time. So I'm like, these guys, they done hold me, bro. Like, what's going on? So I walk into the main hallway like, where the hell are these boys at? And after getting down to the other side of school, I found them. And I ended up walking to them going like, you hold me, bro. And they were pleading their case like, oh, they walked off to go see their friend and they didn't mean to leave us alone like that. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, bro. You left me alone with her. And one of them was just like, yeah, bro, she was feeling you though. She was feeling you. I'm like, no, I'm not on that. Because at the time I was trying to keep it low key, that the fact I was talking to someone, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want anyone on my business. But like I said, I'm a little delulu. So even like a week into talking to someone, I was like, yeah, there's a ring on my finger. Trust me. So I don't care what that girl was on, especially because not even a week prior to all these events happening, she was on my homeboy. They were like together and like, you know what I'm saying? They were all on each other. So it's like, what's going on? Like she saw me and said, oh yeah, this is my next dreadhead in the rotation. Cause my homeboy literally is me, but like 6'3" and has like shoulder dreads. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, I wasn't trying to be the next one. So I think I know the method, the easy fix to all these problems. Like when I get back to school, I'm gonna wear a shirt that says, I hurt my girlfriend. Get away.
Now, if you guys remember back in like August, I made this video, and after experiencing the school parking lot and driving home every day, I'm here to talk about it. And driving home every day is great. Trust me, like getting to decide on what time I get to go home and it not being up to someone else or the school bus is great. But most of the time after 7th period, I have to run out my class. And also shout out to the 3 girls in my 7th period who always block the door and scream and yell like actual children. Reminds me why I want to get out of the building so badly. But I'll run down the stairs out the back door, and what you'll see when you get out there is kids running to their cars full speed like their life depend on it, cars backing out and speeding out of the parking lot they didn't already almost hit somebody, running, parents who got there early and drove into our parking lot and parked on the side of the road waiting for their kids. So basically just chaos because everyone is trying to leave, which makes sense. Trust me, no one wants to be there no longer than me. But like there's a certain time you gotta get out of the parking lot or you're hoed. So usually I get to my car around like 2:36 if I run, because I get out of school at 2:35. And now getting out of the parking lot and onto the road that leads to escape isn't easy either, because there's 2 exits, one on the side of my parking lot and one of the main exits on the other side, and I leave through the side exit that's close to me. Now most of the time leaving, it's 1 and 1, like one car from this way will go and then like one car from that way will go. But not everyone follows this unspoken rule, right? So some people just kind of look at you and then pull forward as much as they can to the car in front of them so you can't go. I do this too, of course. And even when you get out of that whole situation out of the parking lot, we can only use the one left lane to leave because parents that get there earlier park all along the right lane, all the way from that side parking lot near the back of my school to the front parking lot near the front of my school. And these parents are just like parked there on the side of the school waiting for their kids to run up and hop in the car, just parked up next to the no parking signs. So now everyone is trying to leave the parking lot for my side all into this left lane, which makes things so much fun because while being in this left lane, the parents that are blocking the right lane, when their kids get to the car, guess what they do? And most of the time they immediately start trying to turn into the left lane where everyone else is. And the amount of times I've seen like a parent get their kid in the car and with no turn signal, no warning at all, no none, they don't care. They just turn their car to the left as fast as they can to squeeze into our lane. And it's already gotten to a point where I know when that's gonna happen. So if I see a door shut and a parent about to, hit a little lick, try to squeeze into in front of me or something, I'm not letting it happen. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pull my car up, bumper to bumper, the car in front of me. So I don't care how much you rotate your car. I'm gonna look at you in your face and be like, oops, you can't, sorry. And there's like checkpoints when I get into this left lane. Like once I get down it, it's a little straight away, and then there's a section where cars will make left turns from their direction into my school, into one of the entrances, right? And there'll be people at the end of the day going straight right in the left lane. Right lane's usually blocked. Cars coming out through that exit trying to make it a turn into our left lane. So we have basically 3 lanes of traffic trying to get into our left lane while these parents are trying to pull into our school. So you have all that going on. And then sometimes people will get into that other lane that's next to that lane that exits to our area, and they'll just, try to squeeze on in. And that's just fun chaos. But once I get past that point, it's pretty much sailing until you get to the very last checkpoint, which is right at the very first entrance of my school into the front parking lot. There's usually a police officer at the end of school, like, you know, doing cross guarding stuff, and she's usually the final boss. Like, I'm driving, about to make it, and she'll step in front of the road, holding her hand up, doing the thing, and then let the other lanes of traffic from the other parking lot go. And for some reason, I think she has like favoritism. I'm starting to notice that she'll let everyone in that front parking lot go. There's 2 lanes of traffic that turn out into the main road for freedom. She'll let everyone and they mama go. Like, it's actually crazy. She'll let their 15-20 minutes straight of cars from that way, stop them, and then let us go for about 5 minutes, about 10 cars go, and then stop us. It's crazy. And now the main reason for this is probably the school buses in the back of the school, because they'll come pick up all the people, right? And then come around the entire side of the school, get into that lane that leads out of my school, right? Now that lane is the same lane that the police officer lady, the little crossing guard, usually lets all the cars come through. And I think it's favoritism because the buses or whatever. Now the buses are another final boss you gotta get past, you see what I'm saying? If you don't get out of this little area, out of this parking lot before the buses come, you're hoed. You're already hoed, because there's about 15 buses, and all of them driving out, leaving and stuff takes around 30 minutes. So if you're not out by at least 2:45, and usually the time the buses come, you're hoed. You might as well just park your car and like go to sleep or something. I don't know how it is in other school parking lots, but in mine, there is no niceness, and there's no being kind, there's no letting a family of 4 who has a stressful day and just trying to get home in front of you. There's just straight anger. I mean, no one's nice to nobody. Now, I at least try to be nice to at least one person. Like, I let one car pass in front of me if they gotta go or whatever. But after that, it's, yeah, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just trying to go home, bro. I don't care about nothing. Now, another fun thing about school parking lot is my friends. These 4 in particular. Now, the main guy, the little light-skinned curly head dude, gets to school before me, but leaves after me. And I don't know what started this war. Basically, we'd be trolling and griefing each other's cars, from like little things like leaving our windshield wipers up, or opening our little gas thingies, or just closing our mirrors. And it was just a whole bunch of fun, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I would get to school after him so I can just go up to his car, do whatever I gotta do, and then walk away. But he would leave school before me, so him and our friends would just go out there and do what the heck they wanted. Now, one time we were leaving school, right, at the light, like the very end of the street that leads out of, like, to the main road, and we were sitting there in traffic, right, at the red light. I was waiting. They pull up behind me. I see that his door open up. He gets out. I'm like, what is he doing? He runs into the front of my car from while I'm still inside, flips up my windshield wipers. I'm like, hold on, this isn't happening. So I hop out of my car. I run over to him. I do the exact same thing and then run back. I'm like, we're chilling. He gets out of his car again, runs up, tries to pull down the back of my truck, little opening part. Doesn't work, so my car's locked. And then I get out of the car and we're just going back and forth in the middle of traffic. Everyone from our school is just sitting in their cars watching. And at one point, he tried to run up on me again, but I got out. I had a water bottle. I just threw it out of his truck. And then when I'm putting my seatbelt on, my car's in park because I was doing all that. The light turns green, so I'm like, I can get out of here. And I'm just like, these boys keep playing with me, man. Like, they gonna come outside one day and that car look like this. So most people have been through a school drill before, and depending on where you live, they can be different. Like, you know, some people got tornado drills, which to me personally gotta be one of the stupidest school drills. Teachers are supposed to lead everyone out in a calm and orderly line, acting like a tornado ain't about to uproot the whole building itself and take you to a safe area, where that's supposed to mean. And then you're supposed to get on the ground with your head down, protecting the back of your head with your arms. Like, that's gonna do something to save you from a tornado and all that. Like, no, the tornado is going to tear into the building and take everyone inside with it straight into the sky. Like, you huddling up in the fetal position holding your head is not going to save you. It just won't. No, where I live, I don't usually get tornadoes. When I say usually, I mean never. But this year, actually, there was a tornado a couple miles away from my school, and it brought like a massive rainstorm, and school got out early for the kids with cars, but for all the bus riders, they had to stay in school in like a hold, just waiting the storm out. But what most of the time happens where I live are hurricanes. Like, just every year, most of the time around August through like October, which is hurricane season, small little baby tropical storm will cook itself up somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, swoop through the Gulf of Mexico, and then turn into a category whatever hurricane and do how much damage it would do for that category. Now, like, no school where I live has like a hurricane drill, because that would just be stupid ass. Like, hurricanes bring floods and heavy rains for hella long periods, so when there's a chance of a hurricane coming through, school gets canceled in advance, so we're not going to school in a superstorm, you feel me? Alright, class, the next thing happened in World War II was... Now, earthquake drills, like, the whole idea is actually wild. Like, gotta be one of the sorriest school drills. Like, the whole drop, cover, and holding, and like getting under your desk and like covering your head with objects. What is that really gonna do if like an 8.5 magnitude earthquake hits? And then like the whole school just folds into itself, turning into a pile of items. Like, you're dead, and covering your head ain't gonna help you. Like, I know earthquakes that strong are rare, but with weaker earthquakes that might hit, getting under your desk is a little more helpful. And where I live, earthquakes are literally impossible because I'm nowhere near a fault line. So unless I move somewhere where that attack could happen, or the geological arrangement of the earth changes, I want to deal with the stupid earthquake drills. Now we got the fire drill, which everyone has, because, you know, fires could happen anywhere at any time. And fire drills are pretty simple and make sense, you know. You just exit the building and stand outside the building to check if it's on fire or not. And bro, this year at my school, I had like 3 fire drills every other month. And most of them weren't even drills, like random things were triggering the alarms. Like one time, apparently in one of the science rooms, something literally blew up and was smoking and triggered the fire alarm. And then we all stood in the parking lot for like 30 minutes. And there was other times and like random stuff happening, like this pool area in my school, something went on there that triggered the fire alarm over there. And then like we had to stand in the parking lot. Fire department came, fire trucks and all these cars. It was crazy. And now lockdown drills. Now I'm not gonna say too much about this one so YouTube doesn't. But everyone and their mama know lockdown drills are probably the stupidest thing we can do if a goon came up in the building with a blick on a mission, you feel what I'm saying? Like hiding in the classroom with the lights off ain't stopping none. Like let's be so for real, and especially when most of the time the goons going into the building and spinning the block are the people who go to the school and have been in school before and know exactly how the drill goes and where we're gonna be hiding at. So basically, if you think about it, this drill is setting everyone up for failure. But here's my advice: jump out a window. Like the chance of you surviving goes up by like 50%, and if you're on the second story, still jump out the window. Like breaking your legs is a better option, you feel me? And I remember one time in middle school we were doing a hole drill, which is basically you just gotta stay in your room and you can't leave. And this certain time we were doing one during passing period, and they told us beforehand not to catch us off guard. But I was walking to my second period very slowly, knowing at any second I'll have to go to the closest room. And then the speaker went off saying, "Attention, lockdown." And the closest room I was to was the theater room. So I went in there, and over the course of like 5 minutes, like 20 kids came into the room, and then the teacher all in there told us all to huddle into a big closet in the back of the room. So we did. We all piled into this huge closet full of clothes and like props and like theater stuff. And while standing in this closet with 20 other 6th and 7th grade children in the dark too, and it was only dark in the back of the closet where I was because the closet door was open because we all couldn't fit in the closet and close the door. And while standing in this closet thinking, man, if this was an actual drill and someone came in here and saw us all packed up like fish, it would become a quick XP farm, you see what I'm saying? And then kids, including me, cause that shit was funny, started playing air raid siren noises on our phones, freaking everyone out, just causing a loud combo of laughter, screaming, and air raid noises. And I could actually only imagine what the teacher was thinking while in her theater room as she just let 20 random non-theater kids into her closet that is now just spitting out these noises. Now we can't forget the good old duck and cover nuclear attack back in like the 1950s to like 19 whenever, when the threat of a nuclear apocalypse was real, you feel me? Schools up and said, oh yeah, let's have drills for this, where, like it said in the name, duck and cover, the kids would get under the desk and cover their heads, knowing damn well if a nuke went off near a school, everyone in that radius is getting eviscerated. And apparently certain schools encourage children to wear metal identification tags, so in the event of a nuclear attack, their bodies be able to be identified, which is mind-boggling to me because I'm pretty sure if the nuke was close enough, there would be no bodies or metal identification tag. They'd be literal piles of ash or like nuclear shadows on the ground, or what's left of the ground. But I guess the whole like duck and cover school drill gave kids this false sense of hope that like getting under the desk and hiding would protect them from the nuclear blast wave that would most definitely destroy them and everything in its path. So this drill takes the cake for actually the stupidest thing ever, because hiding under your desk is not going to protect you from a nuclear blast. Now yearbook photos are great because this could be the best picture of you ever seen, you feel what I'm saying? Like you could be looking max prestige and everything, hair all nice with the pearly white smile and everything, and then this could be the worst picture of yourself known to man. I'm talking you look all homeless and dirty and disheveled and look like you work 3 jobs just to make end meets or something. Now me personally, most of my yearbook photos have been pretty normal. I didn't like look dead inside in the picture unlike some people. Like this year my picture dead looked like this. But you know there can be all types of people in the yearbook photos. Like the people who don't be smiling. Like straight faced people who just be sometimes looking straight out of a horror movie and everything. Just staring into your soul through a piece of yearbook paper. Not an ounce of emotion on their face. And I always find these type of people's pictures so funny because it just has like the most blank expression on this person's face compared to everyone else's who's maybe smiling or slightly grinning. Then you have this person looking like this. And like bro has not had one happy memory in his entire life. And then we have the complete opposite of these people. people. The people who be smiling their face off, just grinning ear to ear, looking like they just won the lottery, a brand new car, and they just got married all in the same day. And I'm not saying this is everybody who be smiling, just the people who are trying too hard to smile, you know? Like, you could smile like normal, you could smile with teeth, you could grin a little bit, or you could smile like a murderer. And then we got like the bad hair day people, which I genuinely just kind of feel bad for. You know, they woke up, the hair just wasn't working out, and they didn't have time to fix it up or whatever in the morning. Went to school, had to take pictures, and next thing you know, they're looking like this. But I feel like it was like worse back in the day when they had all these crazy, wacky hairstyles, which had people dead looking like video game characters in a yearbook. Now, I always love to go through the yearbook because it's like looking at the yearbook pictures was like a character selection screen because you could dead see anybody and everybody, like some actual characters too. Like, I remember like a month ago looking through a yearbook with a bunch of other people, and we flipped to this one page, and this is girl grinning, face covered in clown makeup and everything, looking straight out of 2016 and all that. And it was just like the goofiest thing I've ever seen. Like, I guess you do you, you know what I'm saying, live your life, but that must have been crazy for the photographer. All right, next up. All right, you ready to take your picture? But now, yearbook pictures for me at least didn't get like interesting to look at until like high school. Like, I don't even remember getting yearbook in middle school in the first place. But my elementary school pictures looked all the same, and everyone just looked like little small children because we were. But I do remember in 5th grade, there were like the teachers would go around and ask everyone in my 5th grade what they wanted to be when they grew up, and like whatever you said we put under your picture in the yearbook. And mine said artist, of course, but I did just went back through my 5th grade yearbook, and I saw someone in my grade put brain surgeon. I'm really trying to connect the dots how the age of 11 or 12, they're dead like, you know what? I want to be a brain surgeon when I grow up. Now, this is just wild. Now, most of them are kind of normal-ish. People wanted to be NFL players, NBA players, pro soccer players, or singers. Saw a lot of YouTubers, a zoologist, which is very interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a biochemist, a pitch chart photographer. I don't even really know what that is or how to say it. These 5th graders dead took their hopes and dreams to the next level, that's for sure. But anyway, you get the point. But I do always remember, no matter what grade I was in, when I would be taking my picture, and whoever was taking my picture would always be like, alright, can you put your feet on the tape, please? Okay. Okay, now look at the camera and slightly lower your chin. Okay, good. Now I'm gonna need you to rotate the left side of your nose like 2.5 inches to the northwest for me. What? Bro, what is she talking about? North what? Huh? Alright, good. Now left foot yellow. Bro, what? And I like dead just remember no matter what, I would always get these random instructions to do all these slight movements that I thought to myself, oh, doing all these things would make my picture come out better, I look cooler. No, that's not at all what would happen. I would follow all these instructions, look at my picture, and I'm looking like this. Now, this is probably because I did everything they said wrong, but you can't blame me. My 2 brain cells just want to take a picture and leave. Like I said before, looking through yearbooks can be mad funny because you just find an array of goofy characters in any yearbook. Or at least for me at my big eye high school, looking through a yearbook showed me a whole collection of people I ain't ever seen before. Especially when you're looking through it and you see the occasional goofball like the clown makeup face girl I mentioned earlier. I remember I saw this one kid, his head was down, eyes were up, no smile. Bro looked like a straight menace. Bro looked like he was about to slide on somebody, and that somebody was the person taking his picture on, bro. And one of my homeboys actually wore a shiesty on picture day and was looking like this in the yearbook. I also found out something interesting that seems like most of my schools have done, like in other sections of the yearbook where it's like random stuff. Like, for example, at my elementary school we had carnivals, right? And in 5th grade I went to a carnival. In the little section of the yearbook for the carnival, they took a picture of me and I was there. Under it they quoted me saying, I love the carnival and all the things to do there. I did not say none of that NPC ad dialogue, bro. Like, I know I was like 11 or 12, but I was not saying the most generic basic stuff. Like, basically they just make up stuff and put it down there. Like in my yearbook from this year, one of my friends got like a whole section kinda to himself. Not really, but basically a section was about cool cars at my school, and he has a cool car, basically a GTA Deluxe though, and it had him like quoted saying something that he never said. I just thought it was funny that like the yearbook people be doing that stuff. For watching, I'm gonna do something a little different for the end card this time. I'm just gonna be standing here in the white void talking to you. So yeah guys, if you have any experiences with bad or good yearbook photo pictures or any interesting stories, I recommend commenting down below right now. And yeah, like the video. Love you, bye. So last year I made this video and I'm here again to talk about school food and why it still sucks sometimes. So usually when I'm in the line to buy lunch, and when I say lunch I mean like some Starburst or some sparkling ice or something, there's these little screens above the certain sections where you can buy lunch, you see what I'm saying? And they'll like display food on the screen, and I'll be just standing there minding my own business, and then I'll slowly just look around, you know what I'm saying? And then I accidentally look at that screen and I see like a 240p image, well I can only guess to be his pizza, and then I'm fighting not to lose my appetite. And then other times they'll be doing like special foods or meals or whatever, and they'll be on the screen and it'll be like chicken tacos coming real soon, and the chicken tacos will look just like this. Now I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Yes, I would tear up those chicken nuggets. Like, they low-key look good and probably also taste like week old dried out Chick-fil-A, but I still eat it. I don't care. Like, yes, this inside of these chicken nuggets probably have the same consistency as as a gummy bear, and the meat is probably mushy, and like it probably just like if I took a bite, the rest of the meat probably fall out like yogurt. I know, but like it might taste good, you never know. And then they got the tortilla, bro. I don't even know if I should call it a tortilla. It looks like a salty sandpaper that somebody in the back found and said close enough. Like there's no way you eat that meal and go like the only sound you should be making after eating this is like no, that's disgusting. Like nah, bro, that tortilla probably just as, if not worse, the same thing as eating a brick. Like hell nah, I'm not eating that. And like I've been over before that there's always certain exceptions when it comes to cafeteria food, and that is not one of them. Like it usually just comes down to like the location, because I've heard some things about other countries and like their food being, you know, better, but like I live in the US, like what am I expecting from American food? And speaking of location, there's literally this high school like a few hours from me, one of the biggest high schools in Texas. Their cafeteria is a literal mall food court, bro. I mean, it looks like a food court they got inside of the malls. Like I'm being so dead at. And they got all the little fast food places and everything, and I feel like for them, since there's options, and when I say options I mean so much better decisions when they want to buy school food, because for them it's not actual school food, you see what I'm saying? It's like the fast food, which I don't really know how that works. Like who works in the little areas in the little like food court they got going on? Like does the school staff work there? Like the cafeteria ladies, they just now work at those places inside the school, or is it just like people who dead work there just like specifically? I don't know. But unfortunately I don't go to this super massive high school for food court inside their cafeteria. I go to a normal high school for cafeteria that sells questionable food, you feel me? And now even when it comes to fast food my school does sell, I only eat it out of pure desperation. I mean, like if I'm starving and it's the only thing I know I can get that I won't throw back up later, because my school sells chicken sandwiches from Chicken Filet. I don't know if I can say the actual anyway, they get those chicken sandwiches in like those big black packages. You gotta pay $5 for them, which is a huge gamble, because you could either get an okay chicken sandwich, you know, it's like a basic slightly warm sandwich with 2 buns and a large chicken tender in between and 2 pickles on the bottom, you know what I'm saying? Something normal, something regular. But then you got like a 63% chance of getting this sandwich, and then sometimes you might be slightly unluckier and get the meh chicken sandwich, you feel me? Like not even slightly warm, it's just like room temperature chicken, and the buns are slightly soggy, pause, and it's just a really mid-ass sandwich, like something you would dead take a bite into and go like like you'd be disappointed. And then we got the really like low-end shitty chicken sandwiches. Like these are rare to come by, probably like a 12% chance of getting them or something. You buy this sandwich, and me personally, I haven't had the pleasure of getting one of these before, but I know people who have bought it and opened up the bag, pulled out the chicken sandwich, and the middle was half the size that it actually should have been. I mean, like the chicken part of the sandwich was probably the same size as a nugget, and then there'd be like only 1 pickle on the bottom, and the pickle has somehow fused into the chicken and the bun, so basically the entire bottom half of the sandwich would become one piece, like a Lego brick. And you know, that's cool, right? Like, and this is only one of the mild cases of the really bad ones. Like sometimes you get a chicken sandwich with random soggy parts on the sandwich, like either the entire bottom of the bun was mushy or the top one, and then sometimes there'll be like little spots near the edge that are just soggy, super inconsistent with the rest of the sandwich somehow. And like besides having the chance of getting and accidentally eating these type of chicken sandwiches, my appetite can be gone in mere seconds when I'm at lunch. Like I have tracked before lunch, so when I get down to lunch I'm usually starving. I mean, like would eat anything, maybe even the questionable cheese pizza and the special sushi they were doing. So yeah, I'm usually like, I'm starving, I want food or something, and then me and my friends walk up to the line and I start smelling the food, I start seeing the school food, and my appetite just disappears. Like almost in an instant, I went from starving to my stomach hurts, I want to leave. And it doesn't help like when I look around and I see people dead grubbing, like I mean tearing they food up. It'll be the same food that I see on the screens, that I see other people buying, that I see around, that I smell in the air, that I think is absolutely disgusting, and then I see them over there grubbing, I mean eating it up, expeditiously eating their food because it's so good to them. And that makes me just lose my appetite even more. And now yes, like I said, there are some exceptions. Like for me personally, I usually get a spicy chicken sandwich because for some reason most of the time when I buy a spicy chicken sandwich from the school lunch line, I don't get the gamble of getting a really bad sandwich. Like most of the time it's just okay, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll eat it, it's good. But trust me, you will never catch me grubbing on some disgusting what they called cheese sticks at